So here they are, playing Firehouse. Here is Kiss.
She'll adore you and she'll blow you with her magnification, and you'll love it and think of it till you lose all intuition. Come on. She can move and prove you. And children, but your head promotion, and you'll need her, so you'll be her with your endless dedication. And the quicker you get sicker, she will lose her education. Get the fire out! 'Cause she sets my soul on fire. Get the fire out! I don't let's keep it higher. She locked up everybody, seems so good. You'll never leave her, but you know you should. She locked her rubber, but it seems so good. I never leave her, but you know you should. Firehouse.
I need you. Sunday dress, ruby rings. Tandio, I need you so to help me in. Purple home, assorted cards, razor lights you bring. All to blue, you're on the move and vanishing. Tandio, I need you so, what gives you know? Tandio, I need you so. Tonight, distract yourself. Obstacles don't work. Homogenize, decentralize. It's just work. Different ways to see it through. All the same in the end. Till you stop, that's who you are. You have to win. Yo, I need you so, focus, you know. Yo, I need you so. Yo, I need you so, focus, you know. I need you so.
Told you about living in the US of A. You know that I'm a bit true love. Let me tell you, people, that I found a new way. I'm tired of all this talk about love. Same old story with the new set of words about the good and the bad and the fun. Times keep on changing, so I'm keeping on top of every bad cat who walks through my door. I'm just cowboy, bet you weren't ready for that. I'm just in the morning you go calling for the man who stole your woman, and you fight till he is done, but they catch you at the border. In the morning all singing as they drag you by your feet, but the heaven isn't hanging, so they put you on the street. Yeah, go back, Jack, to it again. We'll turn it round and round. Go back, Jack, to it again. When you know she's no high climber, then you find your lonely friend in a room with your two-timer and your show your heavy head. Then you love a little wild one, but she brings you only sorrow. All the time you know she's smiling, you'll be on your knees tomorrow. Yeah, go back, Jack, to it again. We'll turn it round and round. You go back, Jack, to it again.
You were kissed by a witch one night in the wood, and later insisted your feelings were true. The witch's promise was coming, believing he listened while laughing you flew. He's falling red, yellow, brown, all over the sea. And the love you have found lay outside in the rain, washed clean by the water, but nursing its pain. The witch's promise was coming, and you're looking elsewhere for your own selfish gain. Keep looking for somewhere to be, where you're wasting your time. Well, that's stupid like this. If I leave us to falling, you're too blind to see. You won't find it easy now. It's only fair. He was willing to give to you, you didn't. You're waiting for more, but you've already oh, it's just promises turned in. So don't you wait up for him, trying to be late.
Oh, there's nothing like Jethro Tull to make me forget where I am. I probably will play another one from that band later at some time, some date, some moment here, maybe in this broadcast. I'm doing this because I said I would. It's so kicked off, and we already did some other things, but yeah, I'm back. It's nice to be able to stream on my own channel, and still break all the rules. I'm gonna play a lot of music today. I want to have fun. I'm hopefully going to pick some tunes that will stir you up inside one way or the other. I can't stand to watch what was happening over there with Common Sense Guy and the Afrikaner, what is his name? The Africaner, whatever. You know what? We'll reserve what maybe I would label him. Naggers. Can I get a G? Well, anyway, it's hard when you see someone and they say, well, your people this, your people that. Your people took my people. I don't really have any people. My people are all dead somewhere in the midst of time. If I brung up my people to this guy, he'd have the audacity, the nerve, the chutzpah to tell me that, well, those weren't really my people, that I don't have any people at all. Well, I mean, I can say the same thing to him. We all know our past history about as good as Elizabeth Warren does. Pocahontas, you know? Maybe it's all a joke and a lie. Maybe I'm just some other white boy from the Caucasus Mountains. No idea. I can't really argue that. I can just say that if you go there, you're a race baiting piece of shit. You're somebody that can't have a conversation unless it's. Sorry, I just read what Lord Quinn wrote out there in the chat. I'm not going to say it. And but you're just a race baiting some human being that is trying to drag the conversation down into a very, very low level, into this such a low level that it's hard to even get myself to think down there. You know, I'm not trying to say I'm so great. That's my goodness, man. You're trying to be a jiggerboo. I had to say it. It's so funny. I mean, it's a funny word. I always thought honky was funny too, like honky, honky, which that's like the sound that white people make when they're being brutally murdered by 5 enraged Africans. Honky, honky. I don't know. You know, there you go. Wow, I'm going to go off onto a tangent and probably come back to bite me. Who knows? I mean, nowadays, you can never be too careful with what you say. Somebody's always watching, and the internet never forgets. It really doesn't. I mean, you think that it's just gone away, and that's it. It's the end of it. But no, it's still here. Let me see, man. You know what? I'm not gonna play that either. I'm gonna play a different one from this band. It's hot here, 93 degrees in the shade. Blistering hot to me. Stifling and very oppressive. It's sticky hot. It's humid, probably 90%, 85-90% humidity, because it's a moist swamp surrounded by lakes here. So when it gets this hot, everything is, you know, evaporating, turning from a liquid state into a gaseous state. You know, we have the 3 states: solid, liquid, gaseous. I don't know. People don't know that anymore. I vaguely remember it. Wasn't a big science nerd. I was a psycho nerd. Got into psychobabble. Got a little bit into history and geography, but not so much. It all led back to anthropology and like paleoanthropology. I see that as an oxymoron. I just don't believe it, like some people do. And I'm not just like a blind don't believe it. I don't believe it because I've looked at it myself. And as I said, with not knowing if I'm Ashkenazi or where I came from, nobody really knows what happened 45 billion years ago, 600,000 years ago. They don't know what happened. They don't know. They weren't there. Oh, but we know this, we know that. Yeah, and every 10 years it changes. And then they say we know something else a little bit different. So listen to this tune and relax your mind and join with me on this strange journey. I'm not feeling that great today, but I said I'd be here today. I'm hoping Maz swings by, maybe Lord Quinn, and we'll have a little chin wag, but for the most part, play some music and just enjoy your company. Hope you're having a
Well, I came upon a child of God. He was walking along the road, and I asked him, "Tell me, where are you going?" Mister told me. Said, "I'm going down to Lester's farm, gonna join in a rock and roll. Got to get back to the land, set my soul free. We are stars, we are filled, and we got to get ourselves back to the garden. Well, then can I walk beside you? I have come to lose my smile, and I feel myself they caught in something turn.
are golden. We are golden. And we got to get ourselves back to the garden. We are stars, we are golden, we are beautiful garden, and we got to get ourselves back to the garden. By the time we got to Woodstock, we were heavily strong, and everywhere was the sun and a celebration. And I dreamed I saw the bomb and death flames riding shotgun in the sky, turning into butterflies above our nation. We are stars, we are golden, we are calling the morning, and we got to get ourselves back to the garden.
One of our great bands, especially for the era, I put them right up there with, you know, anybody y'all had back then, the Stones, the Beatles, Badfinger. Man, I don't know if you remember Badfinger, but boy, they were something. They actually played on what was that called? The record label that they with the Apple on it. Oh, what the fuck was that called? Now I'm not even gonna be able to remember. What's it called? Well, anyway, they played on the record label that was produced by the Beatles, Badfinger. Do you know that band, Moss?
No, I don't actually know.
You know the song "Baby Blue," and
Not off the top of my head.
you ever seen the TV show that was pretty popular over here called Breaking Bad?
Yeah, only maybe one or two episodes. I'm that sad person.
No, that's okay. In fact, I watched them all. I just marathoned it with Mrs. Ogre. I love that series, but you're probably better off for not having gotten tied up into a soap opera that takes you hours and hours and hours to watch.
Yeah, save it for a rainy day.
Yeah, it doesn't accomplish anything. Well, anyway, Badfinger was a good band from the island over there. You had some great stuff going on. I mean, Johnny Rotten, he was something. Sex Pistols, you know. I mean, there was some great stuff going on, but I do put Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young up against some of the calmer aspects of music that were coming from your island at the time, kind of like the Stones. I know they like to say they were the greatest rock band and are the greatest rock band that ever was. The Rolling Stones, but I don't know, man. Watts on the drums, he's good. Like a freight train is good. It gets your freight there. But who wants to ride a fucking freight train?
Yeah, no, I've always tended, if a song's good, I'll enjoy it. It doesn't matter who sings it.
Yeah,
I'm not an avid fan of any particular band. Maybe the Eagles, but even then, there's still some of their songs I don't like.
Oh, you like the Eagles, do you?
Yeah,
great band. I love the Eagles because much like you know, the band, you know, their lead singer is their drummer for the most part, Don Henley.
Yeah, and they all had a go. That's what I like. I liked music back when it was talented people, 4 people in a band, and they were all masters of their craft, not not just shaped by producers nowadays in a studio for the sake of selling a song.
Yeah, they're pretty, so let's do it. Back in the day, I mean, you look at the Allman Brothers, you get them fucking people together. What about the East Street Band? You get the East Street Band together and just group them together, the whole lot of them, Bruce Springsteen too, and you start feeling for your wallet and looking for the exits. It's like, who is homeless people arrayed before me here, these ruffians? But now they just care about, you know, who's the next cutie pie, and as you said, we have these prepackaged songs for them.
Yeah,
In the old days, people died for the music, man. 28 Club.
yeah. They were either trying to make statements or just trying to make people happy. It was never, oh, where they're going to get the money from next.
We said something really important, I think, about especially a band like the Eagles, because there were four of them that sung and they did 4-part harmonies. So you're talking about people that are playing their instruments while they're breaking down 4-part harmony for you. That's something by
Yeah.
the wayside. Now it's auto tune, and they get whoever comes in, and it's a trio of gals that do it every day, and they're not even part of the band. It's all gone.
I remember reading an article. I couldn't tell you where it was, but the guy or person, whoever it was talking about how music is basically all now being shaped into one thing. Like there's going to be no more punk. There's going to be no more rock. It's all, they're just making the same song over and over again. Kind of like the Marvel films, because that's what sells money or what sells to customers. And it's dumbing down music.
Yeah, it's a fact. I think it started in the Midwest around Ohio and the high South, like the northern parts of Kentucky, southern parts of Ohio, Indiana. I'd be driving through there when I drove truck. And I was saying this to Mrs. Unger. Maybe we'll talk about this a little bit. I was watching some stuff today because I'm a flat earth conspiracy nut. I get into that. Well, now there's some people that are saying, well, Australia doesn't exist. And so there was an Australian that was there, like pointing a camera at himself and showing the dirt. And was like, it's hard for me because I'm here. So they say that people are starting to say about United States, that it's all a big projection, that we're all entrapped somehow or another in one place. And if you do go on vacation, it's like dark city where, but it's Shell Beach. It's not real. And so I hope everybody got that reference. It's pretty arcane, but I know that's not Shell Beach here, because I've driven a semi truck on every major interstate you can name right now. North, south, east, and west. I've been to every major city you can name right now. I was not one of these faggot ass, candy ass, concrete cowboys like, I don't go to New York City, Bo. I toured the Northeast out of my map book. Well, I didn't. I went wherever they would pay me. It didn't really matter to me. So I mean, I know it's there. But yeah, they're blending it all down. I mean, why did I go on that tape? Because it's true. They're trying to say they're making it all one thing. It's all one thing. You can't get, in the old days, man, there were like subdivisions of the subdivisions. When I went to school, there were the punks, but there were the straight edge punks. They didn't do drugs, didn't really cuss. They helped old ladies across the street and shit, but then fought, like fist fight and shit with other people, and didn't eat cows. They didn't eat meat. And then there were regular punks, like probably me, that just put safety pins in their ears and had razor blades on their leather jacket and tried to sneer and say oi as if they were fucking British.
Yeah, and I think you're right in what you're saying. Back a few years ago, there were defined groups, and nobody cared, and nobody was moaning that you join whatever group you want, you be whatever you want. I'm not worried about it. I'm with my
group. It was a reason for us to fight. We used to fight. I don't see kids fighting anymore. That's the thing that bothers me the most, Moss. The last few times I went to 4th of July and watched the fireworks down in a town I won't name right now. There used to be a fight there every 4th of July, usually 10 or 12 of them. Wasn't one fist fight. The kids nowadays, they keep this shit inside of them. They don't go out there and define lines within the lines and stand up for their tribe and learn that tribal instinct that will help them in the corporate world when they get there. Because now it's, hey, it's my corporation against you. I remember in the old days, I used to beat that straight edge punk up just because he said anybody that eats a cow is fucking a murderer. So I punched him in the mouth.
Yeah, they're not allowed to do it anymore, are they? They're not allowed. They're wrapped up in bubble wrap, and and they're trained, mentally taught that it's wrong. You can't do it. I mean, ironically, in the animal kingdom, you've still got lions play fighting and other creatures play fighting. It's all part of learning something for later on in life, like you say, whether it be hunting, whether it be defending yourself.
Well, you make a good point too, because I want to say it very clearly. When I say fighting, also, I mean fighting like boys did. You beat somebody down, I mean, you get in there and smack, 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 smack. You've already hit them a few times, and you see their days fall on the ground. you know, maybe you just go over and kind of hurt them a little bit more.
Yeah, but nothing
but-
serious. You don't jump
No.
on them and start trying to strangle them.
No. Even your own mates are like, hey, all right, that's, you know, fun's fun, but done is done.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's another good point. Like when you know, 10 of your mates are all standing there and one person starts fighting, everyone else just watches. They don't pile in like, you know, it's there was a fairness to it.
the mates I had, they were standing there hoping you got your ass kicked so they could razz you about it.
Yeah, oh god, yeah.
They'd be like, yeah, oh, you're talking shit tonight, preacher man, but you know, remember 6 weeks ago when you was all drunk and Sally fucking Two Toes kicked your ass?
Yeah.
You're like hang your head down in shame, you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to hold back on my stories. I don't even want to tell you.
It happens. Well, have you ever been in a fist fight?
No, nothing serious. Nothing I would say serious.
I mean, have you ever been in a fight where your fists were up, you got punched in the face, and you punched somebody else?
No, they've always been sort of more scuffles that broke out. And all right, I'll tell you the funny story. The very first time I ever punched someone, and this I was obviously very young. I've never done anything like that before. And this guy was giving all the mouth, and I was holding him because you know you when you're young you don't know. So I had my hand on like his lapel, and I gave him the right hook, and he went down. And as he went down, because I was holding him, it pulled me down. I did a roly-poly over him, got up, and like you said, I turned around, and my mates were just pissing themselves laughing at me.
Well, but that's a fist fight. If you hit him in the face, that's a fist fight. That's
Yeah.
how I feel about it. But the scuffle always makes me think of like when two guys get together and are starting to fight that probably should have never started fighting to begin with. And
But
they kind
it's
of
yeah,
slap
sorry,
at
it's
each
it's
other
it's,
or-
it's mainly in pubs where it's, you know, someone nudges someone and something happens, or someone says something, and there's a lot of pushing and shoving and holding, but you know, nothing serious.
I'll tell you what happened. I was coming back with Mrs. Ogre years ago. It was 1994, 1995. And we were coming back from I was working at this trailer park. As a matter of fact, you know what? This was so long ago. I hadn't quite had the job there, but I was living at this trailer park at Lee Road and Edgewater Drive in Orlando, Florida, right on Lake Fairview. And man, was walking back home. I had my buzz on. I must have been 19, I think, maybe 19, maybe 20. And this dog come out, a basset hound. Are you familiar with a basset hound?
Yeah. Is it
Like
the
a very big dachshund, basically.
right? Yeah, it's a sort of hunting dog.
Yes, and you see them, they're all floppy with their floppy jowls and their floppy ears, but
Yeah.
this fucker was vicious and it's coming out at me, right? Mrs. Ogre's with me. I'm trying to think of a couple other people were there, but I don't remember. I know Mrs. Ogre was there. She can probably hear me. I'm not going to embellish this at all. I'm just going to tell you what happened. So I seen that dog coming, man. Like I said, I'm a swagger on. I was like, hey, I look up on the porch. There's this old man up there, 6'3", though. I'd say maybe 225 pounds, burnt tan by the sun. Had a shirt on, kind of like I have on, but it was no t-shirt under it, and it was wide open, no buttons buttoned, and you could see he was in fair shape for an old man, maybe 64, 62 at the time. I didn't know him right now, but I'm about to meet him. And I said, hey, man, get your dog. I'll fucking kick it. All right. Well,
Yeah.
you know, you learn valuable lessons in life as you go on through life. You learn valuable lessons. So this old man came out there, and hell, I was, like I said, 19, 185 pounds, wiry muscle, loved to fucking fight and hold the camera, as I like to tell people, and I was no good at holding the camera. And man, as I was getting ready to threaten him, he had already pulled his 32 over under Derringer out. 32 caliber over under. It's got one hammer, but you pull the hammer back and pull the trigger, and one barrel fires, pull it back again, the other barrel fires. And he's pointing right at he was only as far as Lily is from me. The barrel, I could see down the barrel. It was a bright sunny day in Florida. I could see down the barrel and see the hollow point bullet, because the barrel's only that long. I mean,
Wow.
The bullet's only in there 1.5 inches. I could see that bullet. It almost felt like the skin got hot right above between my eyes, like I knew that's where the bullet would have went. And man, you never seen a motherfucker blubber and beg for forgiveness so quick as I did. And I probably did that for, I don't know. Everybody else was moseying. No, Mrs. Ogre was already moseying. Everybody else was moseying on as quickly as they could out of the vicinity of the drunken man coming out to defend his dog with a loaded firearm. And what I tell you what, when I took off, I do remember this. I never in my life before or since have ran so close to the ground. I felt like my nose was going to scrape the ground. And I remember helping myself along with my hands. But I'm telling you, brother, I was going at a full out bolt. But that's how I met Big Marshall.
Yeah.
About a week and a half later, he gave me the bullet that was in the top cylinder of that gun, the top barrel of that gun. And I drilled a hole in it, put it on a keychain. I'll have to dig it out one day and show you.
But it's a lesson well learned.
Oh, yeah. Never try to pick a fight with anybody again like
Yeah.
that. I mean, if something went down, I always say, even to this day, I'll be like, hey, sir, your dog is going to bite me. You mind I don't go right to the, because you never know.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't take 2 seconds to be polite, and you never know, do you? There's crazy people out there, and I say this to like my other half all the time, because she gets a little bit of road rage every now and then. And I said, but there's people out there that will just get a tire iron out of the back of their car and just smash your window in and punch you straight in the face just for even looking at them.
Bloody
so, you know, defend yourself, people, but just be careful.
Well, I think it goes to what I was saying. A lot of the problems that we have today, I mean, not in Marshall's case. In Marshall's case, it was an old man that wasn't ready to fight with some whippersnapper. I would have beat his ass. I mean, he even told me later on, I would have beat his ass. It's fucking 19. I would hate to face me right now if I could somehow transport to this day and age. Plus, I know who I was. I would be like, nah, young man, I ain't got no problem. You know, I would anything not to get my ass kicked by this fucking jackass. But, yeah, well, I think too.
I guess that's where the term "an armed society is a polite society" comes from. You know, everyone essentially is equal then.
But outside of that situation, we need to have these, you know, no more Boy Scouts of America. You kidding me? We need to have these places where boys get together, form groups and subgroups, and squabble amongst each other for rank and position.
Yeah.
We have to have that. It's going away. Everybody gets a fucking trophy. Everybody gets some more. Look, there was shit I was good at. I was pretty good on defense in football. In fact, I was very good defensive. I played right tackle all through high school. I could not catch a football. They would never, if I would have been the running back, there's nothing. I had nothing there. You know, I couldn't play basketball, but I was really good at water polo. I was also pretty good at, I mean, see what I mean? You know, there's things that you can do. There's things you can't do.
Yeah.
I didn't want a trophy for basketball. Hell, I'd get so flustered out there playing basketball, I'd throw the ball to my fucking opponent half the time.
Yeah.
You know, I would never get picked. I mean, if we were playing football, I'd be usually one of the first people picked. After they got their quarterback and their one good running back picked out, I'd be one of the first people they'd want defending whatever they were doing. But basketball? Oh my God. I didn't even want to play, let alone get picked.
Yeah, no, in some ways I was the same at school. I pretty much played, apart from football, funnily enough, I played on every team that the school ever had for my year. But it wasn't because I was any good at anything. It was just filling out spaces and numbers and just, you know, this guy's the dedicated one who turns up. So we've got to give him a chance.
Now, you, of course, mean British football. When you say football, you're not talking about rugby or American football.
No, I soccer. I just didn't want to have to use that word.
No, that's fine. And I just clarifying it for anybody. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anybody that's here that didn't know what you meant probably shouldn't be here anyway. So,
yeah.
I mean, look, I'm wearing my British made Kangol right now. Now,
is that not Australian?
No, it's British, man.
Oh.
This one is made in Sussex. Oh man, I'm so old. This one is made in Sussex.
Nice.
Sussex.
It will last you a lifetime then.
Yeah, but it's also about this one. This one is already very old. I don't think you can even get them made in Great Britain anymore.
No, I'm not sure we make anything anymore.
Oh man, isn't that a damn shame? Because it was always the best. If you had something made in Belgium, England, Germany, America, United States of America. It was the best. We used to say, my dad would call something that was junk. He'd always say it was Jap junk. And it might not even have been made in Japan.
Yeah.
If it was junk, he would just say that's Jap shit. That was another way of saying garbage. Now they make the fucking best everything.
Well, the world has traded skill, knowledge, and time for quick profitability. Really, they just want the money now. I always say this to people: when I was younger, at Christmas, me and my brother got a load of Action Man figures, which is, I guess, the GI Joe equivalent, 12-inch figures, and we got all kinds of stuff. And we both got a scout car each, which was basically a little army jeep thing. But you could literally stand on them. Put your feet in them and use them as roller skates, and we used to sit on them and ride down hills and stuff, like crazy stuff like that. But then when my son was born, I bought him the same apparently model of car, and it was just made out of such cheap plastic. I was like, I don't even want to put the Action Man in there because I don't know it can take the weight.
Yeah, well, I come from the days of die-cast toys, just at the end of them, in the early 80s. We still got die-cast toys. We had a die-cast car that my brother Carl and I could sit two abreast in. Now, we were young. We were under 10. He was probably 9. I was, about 6. And we could sit two abreast, and it had 4 pedals in there, They didn't pedal like this. They went like back and forth and pushed.
Right,
lever,
yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
The wheel. I mean, it's old school. But man, we'd get in that thing, and when we take off and get it going, we could make the wheels kind of as we were going. And we rode that some bitch hard and left it in the rain. And last I seen it, it was rusted. My beloved mama had flowers planted where the seat was, in her yard.
Yeah.
And that toy, when we got it, the toy was 30 years old. So now it's,
and it's not even things like that. I can remember when I was younger with my cousin making a go-kart, just strapping bits of wood together with a bolt for steering and cutting the wheels off my mum's pram that she used to have but didn't need anymore. And then we'd ride that down the hill all over the place. And I just think, well, if the political PC people saw me doing that now, they'd have a fit. They'd probably put me on some kind of drugs for being an insane person.
I just don't know why, other than, killing this whole idea of youth and masculinity. But it's not just the youth. I was thinking Kenner, the toy brand that, made Star Wars famously. They made more money in, I think, 2 years than their when they first launched Star Wars than their company did in the 30 years. In fact, I know it's 2 years. They made 6 months, now that my brain's jogging. So after they released Star Wars, in 6 months, they made more than the previous 30 years of being a company. Well, remember, they made the Easy Bake Oven. So
yeah,
it's not just masculinity. And back in the old days, they sold girls' toys that fucking mangled the hands of 50 girls a year. And they knew it. They knew it. They'd reach in there and the fucking, they'd come out permanently scarred. And,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
No, it's funny. But it's the way it is. What are you going to do? How are you going to teach a girl? Remember, is the first time she puts her hand in to mangle it, should it be an Easy Bake Oven or an oven where you're going to put a leg of lamb to roast for 4 hours that's at 375?
Yeah.
That's set on 5, I think, is the number. Like set on 4 or 5. Burn your fucking hand off.
Yeah, it's the old simple ones. And I can't remember exactly sort of when but it's the stuff like, if I used to say to my mum, well, is that oven hot? And she'd say, well, put your hand on it and find out. And it is like, and you may reach for it and go, hang on a minute, that's not a good idea. And we're not teaching people to think anymore. We're just giving them the answers and oh, it's hot, but no one's asking, why is it hot? Or I don't know. We're just not teaching people properly anymore.
Oh God, let's have a smoke. Let's have a smoke. If you got any reefer, don't say so. In fact, we know you don't, because you'd never break the laws in your country. But if you did have, or if you wanted to smoke in your mind, let's get some pot. Let's have a little smoke.
I'm crazy enough on a good day with just beer. I'll leave that till later.
Yeah, beer.
Yeah. I pretty much always have beer. Sorry,
but you don't drink cider.
No, I'm not a fan of it. Some of them I do. I like the Stella Sidra. I like Jack Daniels cider.
Oh man,
I may try that one day if I ever see it. Angry
No, you
Orchard.
won't see it. In fact, I'm telling you, I'm probably going to bite the bullet and send Common Sense Guy a 6-pack through the bloody mail, which you
Yeah.
already know will be about $50 just to send the 6-pack.
Yeah. Oh God. And that actually, in this day and age, considering where we are at now, that's insane to me. Why things cost so much to ship internationally? Why haven't we just got what is it? Why can't we just beam it backwards and forwards?
Well, we can't do that, but even so, I mean, how much space does a 6-pack take up on an airplane? I understand that some, but I mean, give me my cut. You know, what? How much? It should probably be $5, not 60.
Well, it's the weight. Again, that guitar was what was it? Oh God, 5.5 kilos, maybe. So it is quite heavy. Now you weigh your 6-pack and compare it to that.
Yeah,
6-pack's gonna weigh 2 kilos.
Maybe 2. Yeah. Yeah, they're not gonna be gentle. I sent the Britisher a package once, and it had 2 liters in it. I'm not even gonna say what the package cost by the end of it. We sent him a bunch of sweets you can only get in America because his somebody that he knows and loves, I'm not supposed to mention, loves sweets. It's shit. If that don't show my loyalty, I don't know what it will. I haven't talked to somebody. But yeah, man, that fucking package. I got it together, and they asked me if there was anything I wanted to declare on it after they told me how much it'd be. I said, yeah, I declare that's a fucking hefty price.
Yeah. Fun fact though, apparently 1 liter of liquid weighs a kilo.
Well, it depends upon what you got.
But just a rough estimate.
A gallon of water is 2.2 pounds, which is a kilo. Yes. Right? Isn't that right?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about gallons.
We said a liter. A liter.
Yeah, a liter. 1 liter of water. Just
No, that
I
sounds
recently
better. I think
found
a
out
gallon
is
is
apparently a kilo.
Yeah, and 8. So 4, but so it'd be 8.8 kilos per gallon, which would make sense. I think it is 8 because it isn't 2.2. I was thinking of that. I don't know what the fuck am I talking. What are we talking about?
Yes, that's why I don't carry it. I tend to, I don't carry it in my arms. Most of my beer I tend to carry inside with me.
Yeah,
technically smuggling.
I'm gonna go take a George III and play this song. I shall be right back. I'm glad you're here too, Maz, as you ponder this and maybe what we might talk about next. Gotta hear beer maybe an hour after this. Grab another cider, and man, I'm so fucking wore out, dude. I can't. Can you not tell? I am so wore out.
Yeah,
I am beat down. I got up this morning and just because I was gonna do this if it killed me. And Mrs. Ogre's still working. She's a fucking dynamo. She doesn't. Oh my god. I'm glad I don't have to keep up with her. I mean, we got together and in my laboratory here the other day, I spray painted it all, floor, wall, ceiling, which doesn't take long. It's a lot of prep. But then today, I mean, 3 big overhead lights, the whole system, everything that was in my laboratory that had to be, cleaned, wiped, bleach and water, maybe a little bit of Pine Sol. And oh fuck, man, I'm done. They say about all these tough jobs. The hardest job that I've found to do is cleaning shit. You bend, you're bending, you're turning, and I hung drywall. I've done all kinds of hard ass jobs too. Even I had a tree service company for 2 years. But that's the worst, man. I don't want to fucking clean anything ever again right now. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna go get a fucking.
Yeah, well, I think life's designed to wear you down.
You know I smoked a lot of grass. Oh Lord, I popped a lot of pills. never touch nothing that my spirit could give. You know, I've seen a lot of people walking around with tombstones in their eyes. But the butcher don't care if you live or if you die. God damn, the pusher. God damn, hey, I say the pusher. I said, God damn, the bushman. You know the dealer is a man with a love grass in his hand. Oh, but the butcher is a monster. That God is not a natural man. The dealer for nickel ought to sell you lots of sweet dreams. But the pusher on your body, love will leave your mind to scream. God damn, the pusher. God damn, the pusher. I say, God damn, the pusher man.
Yeah. Well, you know what I used to say is you might not like the candy man, but you sure do like the candy. And so when I hear songs like that about, damn the pusher man, well, I mean, he's got a purpose or he wouldn't be there. All this talk about drugs in the world and, what drugs should be legal, what drugs shouldn't be legal. Oh, man, I tell you, Moz, my back hurts so bad. I try to power through shit. But I'm going to have to sleep in this chair tonight because sleeping in bed, I woke up this morning. It took me a while to get from my bed to this chair. I'm not even going to go into it. It was a rough day. And then I had a lot to do. I just had to do it. You just have to do it. Once you get moving, I mean, no matter what your pain is, if it's at the levels I'm at, which are bad, you can go through it. You don't have to just curl up in a ball and cry.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Most of my life has been sort of hard graft, and I have back issues. Nothing sort of medical. Never spoke to a doctor or anything like that. But yeah, I wake up in the morning and I'm stiff as a board, and my back hurts. But and people be careful because everyone goes, "Oh, I'll take a couple of penicillin or paracetamol, couple of tablets." That's just hiding the injury. That's just hiding the pain. It's still there. Don't struggle.
Make it fucking worse is what that'll do.
Yeah. Just out of interest, because I don't know how to put it in the side chat, I've DM'd you a little news article. I don't know if you'll want to have a look at that later or not.
Oh, on Twitter?
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about it. Oh, man.
It's another one of those, where's the world going to today?
I wanted to go into. I'm sorry, you can only see my head. You're gonna have to deal with it. I'm just gonna go into. Was gonna go into just more philosophy today, but let's see what this is and how we can tear it apart. If you brought it out, I'm sure it's good. I keep hearing from Zero Cool. Do you know Zero Cool? You don't even know him, do you?
No.
Yeah, he's a loudmouth Yank. I mean, he's cool and all, but the problem with me having him on my stream is he invites me on stream sometimes when he's there. I'll only stay for about 10 minutes because I'll say, well, with Zero Cool and I here, it's very difficult for anybody. You know how it's difficult for you to get a fucking word in when it's just me here. Now
Yeah.
imagine two of me here.
Yeah.
And
I've
so,
got a feeling I have seen him, but I not straight up in my mind.
a great guy. Turns out he's got cancer in his nuts.
Oh.
Is that what it is?
Well, best of luck to him.
No, I'm just teasing. No, he's having some tests though. And the way he made me, he was like sending me some DMs. I'm looking at the DMs, and it was like I felt like finally I came around. I was like, "What, dude? You got cancer?" And so he said, "No, but something's going on, and he's taking a little break or whatever." But it would be something though, right? I mean, if they're coming in tomorrow, it's like, Maz, man, everything's good. I'm good. Life's gonna go on for a little while, but my balls got cancer. I mean, what do you say to a guy at that point? It's like, my balls got cancer.
Yeah. And how's the job going? You can't. That's a question you can't respond to, is it?
No, well, there's only one thing you really.
Which one or both?
Well, yeah, because what you want to know is really there's only one thing you really want to know, right? Is if I get cancer in my bollocks, does John Thomas still,
Well, yeah, I think actually it's more you want to worry about cancer in your prostate for John Thomas.
Oh yeah, because that's game over, right?
Yeah. If they have to operate, it can be not a good outcome.
Get up in there and pull that prostate out. Good doctor, he can rub you up in there one time and make you squirt your squirt.
It's not something I'm really interested in.
It's called digital stimulation.
Yeah. No. I've seen what was the film with the monkey face?
Yeah, because it's shot. Well, I don't know. Tell me about it.
Oh, there's one of those films. I don't know if it was like Aston Kutcher or whatever, and someone else, and they were both playing airheads, and one of them wanted to donate sperm but couldn't do it, and a nurse slapped on a glove and went, "We'll sort you out, finger up the back." And then later on, because it was a comedy film, it was basically all he ever wanted his girlfriend to do to him.
Oh, well, it does. If you know what you're doing, yeah, that's it. Now, this is fucked up right here, Jack. Maz, you're as twisted as I am, you son of a bitch and motherless bastard. I mean,
I don't understand this.
What? He says, man spends $50,000 on over 100 procedures to transform into a genderless alien, and he plans to have his bollocks, his meat and veg, nips, and belly button removed next. He's going to have, I mean, come on, man. 50 grand already. And he plans, and we'll see what he looks like here in a second, but he plans to get his genitalia, nipples, and belly button removed. This freak. And I'm telling you, I'm looking.
And he's only 22.
He's too young for this. Somebody should put a stop to this when he was very young. Los Angeles, of course. I mean, of course it's Los Angeles. Look at that. That's fucking freaky. What are you going to do? What's he going to do when he's 25 and he realizes, I just want to get laid?
I just wonder what's in his mind now that he thinks this is the best alternative.
Oh man, look at that! What is that? He ain't got much. Look, he's covering it up with one finger. They ain't gonna have to cut.
I didn't even see that one. Oh my god!
They ain't gonna have to look. They ain't gonna have to cut much off. You know what I'm saying? Look at that.
That looks like what happens to you if you take in too much cyanide.
Come on, look at that right there. Look. He covered it up with one finger. I mean, there ain't nothing there. Where is it? They ain't got nothing. You can cut it off. Cut what off? That's a doctor you get there say, cut what off? You just have a glorified clitoris, sir. Come on, you know that was funny. That was
but it's so progressive.
Look at that. I mean, my God, have mercy on your creation. What have you done? Lord, You can't let this go on forever. I'm your faithful servant. But look at and look, that's just a normal boy there. Look, there's a normal boy, kind of. Some shit.
Yeah, almost.
And then it goes from, oh my God, it goes from this to this to this. What is that? I mean, you got to ask yourself, what is that? It's a genderless.
Yeah, I'm honestly looking at it and thinking that that is after you walk into a war-torn zone and check the bodies that have been killed by chemical attack.
You know, yeah,
That is what that looks like.
looks like something that got out of Auschwitz in 1943. Looks like something you'd find in a mass burial in outside of Buchenwald.
Yeah, there's some kind of ancient Aztec tribal execution or something.
Man, I mean, that is just, I don't even, yeah, anyway. So should this be illegal? I guess that's the question I have to ask at this point. Should it be illegal?
At the very least, it should be described as a mental disorder.
Well, hey, look, if he's allowed to do this shit, then I should be able to shoot heroin in my testicles.
And the ironic thing is, all that stuff that he's done to himself, people will say to me, "Oh, but you had a tattoo. You was defiling yourself. It's the same thing." No, fuck off. It's not the same thing.
A tattoo?
A tattoo, yeah. Just because I had a tattoo, or people that just like those hoops in their ears, they'll say, "Oh, it's all the same thing." No, it's not the same thing.
Now, allow me to mock you from it, but tattoo. So it's like some of you British people, you don't. It's not that you have a problem with your T's because you demonstrated it there. You started out fine with a good T, a good sound. And
I could explain the reason for it.
So tell me, why is it tattoo?
It's upbringing. It's what your parents taught you. I mean, my parents were from London, and when you look at a typical Cockney, which I'm not, they drop their T's and their H's. So the number 3, which is THREE, is pronounced free. FREE.
Well, I was going to ask you, it's funny you said that because I was going to ask you the other day if you were in fact born within the sound of the bells.
No.
Okay. Because you didn't sound Cockney to me, and a lot of there's a good example. You can say it. You did it. You can say tattoo, but it hurts you a little bit. You say tattoo.
I have to physically and mentally picture my tongue going up to the back of my teeth, which is how you say 3.
3. Oh, anyway, that's fucked up. Yeah, no, that's almost as fucked up as this. And it doesn't matter to me. I always, because my hero, if I was to pick my favorite drummer, and everybody's like, oh, it's Bonham if they're British, and if they're American, it's like, oh, it's Neil Peart, or it's, it goes on. There's a big debate of who it is. Well, I always say Ginger Baker.
Yeah. Well, it's not like he didn't play with some pretty good people.
Oh, and just the best drummer ever. The tribal rhythms that he came up with. I mean, the guy is a genius of a drummer. And he's so scrawny and skinny, and always the cigarette dangling, and I can't do the T. He's Cockney to hell,
Yeah.
It looks like he punched you in the face. If you was like, hey, how you doing, Mr. Baker? I'd love to buy you a drink. Oi, bam! Just like punch you. Fuck you, mate.
Fuck you, drink.
Drink.
But is it when you're in a bar, it's amazing how you can accurately stereotype. Always a horrible word, but you can see a person and the way they act. You know who they are. You know what they do, and I think that goes back to a part of being when you're younger. The people you fight shape you in the future, and you know who to fight, who not to fight, and it's just that's evolution as opposed to the societal construct that they talk about.
Yeah, that's a fact. Social constructs, all these words that we use now, dude, it always makes my asshole hurt. When you said that, it made my ring piece pucker.
I just laugh about it mostly.
Well, it's like we got to talk that way, though. I mean, I'm listening to you, and it actually came out well. We're out here, we're talking about fucking social constructs and shit. Next, it'd be like, so Moz, when you go and you get on the tube and you look around and there's muzzies everywhere and they're kind of looking at you funny because you're white, do you feel the intersectionality creeping in?
Yeah, I'm just
thinking, we're gonna go around the corner and suck each other off like a couple queers. I mean, it's just unreal.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually, I would be qualified as a racist in their world, because when I get on a tube, if a muzzy gets on with a backpack, then I'm thinking to myself, do I need to get off at the next stop just in case?
You're
And
definitely racist.
they just can't see that's. I'm not attacking the guy. I'm not, and it's nothing to do with his color. It's just a survival instinct. And I look at other people in the same situation. Is, you know, if something goes wrong, ooh, who was that great general? I'm sure he was an American leader or general, and he said, "Excuse me, bikes again." But he said, I walk into a room and I'm polite to everyone, but I always have a plan to kill everyone in the room. Yeah, that's genius.
He actually, the quote is, be kind, be polite, be professional, but have a plan to kill everyone in the room. That's the quote.
Yeah, I like that kind of thinking.
That was his advice. What happened was the British Marines were getting their ass pounded in Fallujah, and the British, for whatever reason, I chalk it up to what we're talking about right now. The British leaders, slipping my name because who got the glory, Mattis, was just not willing to put his troops in there. He wasn't willing to pound inside the city with artillery. He was kind of right inside the gate and right along the gate and was just standing there, saber rattling while they were taking errant fire. People
doing the humane thing.
You're doing the humane thing. And Mattis came in there and said, first, I mean, there was a big thing. It took about 2 months before they were actually like, okay, I'll come in and help you. But this, and then finally, okay, so I'm coming in to help you, but that means do it my way. It was like 4 days later, they took Fallujah. In fact, if anybody knows who Adam Kokesh is, Adam versus the Man, he was there. His commander was General Mattis. He hates him. He has his own spin on this and his own take on this. And with respect to him, he was there. But the end result was they bombed the fuck out of the center of the city where they could see the shells and stuff were coming from, devastated it to rubble, sent hard chargers in there and did a house-to-house sweep and took this fucking city in 4 days. And so that's what he was sitting down, letting them know that as they were, this was at the, like in the middle of that 4 days, they were taking it. And so that speech was to people that were going to go and negotiate with their counterparts that were Iraqis. I hope that wasn't a mouthful of stuff for you to follow and everyone else and understand what I'm saying. So he was telling them, be polite, be professional, be courteous, be professional, but have a plan to kill everybody in the room, because these people you're sitting down negotiating with, you may have to kill them. I am saying what that quote has meant to be and should mean. Maz, you're with your woman at the local pub or wherever, and probably at the pub because that's a very intimate place, especially in England, but you're somewhere on the high street with you should be looking at everyone with the idea of, if they try anything, I'm going to do this, that, the other thing, get my wife that way, and we're going. You know what I mean? That's how I live.
No, I agree. And again, I just think it's a survival instinct. It doesn't mean you're mad. It doesn't mean you're insane. It just means you're taking care of yourself. But everything you've just said there brings me back to, because it's something I think about a lot, is, for instance, like we know as the world is today, there's wars going on, and our allied forces, whatever you want to call them, they're not allowed to do this, they're not allowed to do that. What if all these complaints people were making and all these things and all the, oh, you're racist. What if the powers that be, say America and England, that are fighting wars in other countries, turned around and went, well, fuck you, we've had enough. How many days do you think that war would last? We are going to crush you.
Wait, United States against
yeah, well, if you think we're in Syria, we're ISIS, and whatever battle we're in, if we actually turn around,
everybody in the world said we're going to destroy the United States and Great Britain.
Oh no! The United States and Britain,
right?
The United States and Britain are always being blamed for being in wars.
Going to crush everybody.
Yeah, if we decided, well, these wars have to end, how many days do you think it would take us?
God save them, mate. And I wonder sometimes what's wrong with us. The only reason we beat you in the Revolutionary War is because we diverted from the modern tactics and we went to sniping, man. We went to guerrilla warfare in a place that you were unfamiliar with. We did not. I mean, the big no-no in the Revolutionary War was to meet the redcoats on level field. We did not fucking do that. You sons of bitches would stand there stolidly loading your long guns with bullets whizzing and your mates getting fucking plowed left and right, never missing a beat, and fire every 25 seconds. And then go, I mean, that's just how it was. And it was very hard it was impossible to beat you all there at that time. So we went different tactics. Well, what happened? Lord Nelson, look what he did, man. I mean, Trafalgar, the tactics that he used navally, he pretty much said, well, I could be looked at by the world of being this glorious whatever that lined up my ships with these Spanish ships and with these and just boom, I believe it was French, boom, and be done with it and lose. Or I can have my hooker, you know, he had like 2 of them. I can have my hooker, have illegitimate children, and fight like a rogue and win. I tell you what, if they ever take Lord Nelson down from Trafalgar Square, I will personally have a plane ticket to London, to England, within a month, and I will go there simply to weep, not to protest, not to even film it beyond my camera, showing real tears flowing out of my face onto your British soil. But if they ever take that statue down of that, just a man's man, Maz.
Yeah, and we're not allowed to do that anymore. We're not. When you look back on history, all you're allowed to do is pick out the bad things that people have done. And
no, he was a fucking racist. He hated everybody that wasn't English. I love him for that. I want to pick that out. I just don't.
I would just call that nationalistic.
Pardon me?
You know, I would just call that nationalistic. He was just proud of his country. He fought for his country and he did his job.
Above all else, he lost a. He said, "Listen, he in an argument one night. I'm trying to think of who he's arguing with. I can't think. The name's not coming up. But in an argument one night about tactics and about this and that, he said, "Listen, I have given an arm and an eye for my country, and the only thing I can consider is that I have not given enough, and you have given nothing, and are trying to ponder how you can withhold the rest."
Nice.
I mean, he was something else. I mean, he was really something else. He was the kind of guy that gave up those things and loved it. He did, like I said, I mean, most people do know this that study history. He did have 2 prostitutes he loved very much, a few illegitimate children. It was hard for him to maintain his position in society in England, so he didn't spend a lot of time there. I think you probably know that, but
well. Back then, people were different and they thought in different ways, and they weren't held back by political correctness. They didn't have to worry about being called a racist because they complained about immigration or anything like that.
Well, I would almost say that I disagree with you. In fact, I would say that's what I'm trying to say right now. That no, he lived in, what's it, Venice, right? I was about ready to look it up. I don't want to look it up. I want to do this from memory.
No, I'll take your word.
I think, but somebody else correct me if I'm wrong. He loved Venice, and so he stayed there. He actually fought some battles around Venice because of the influence that the local mayor had on him. That happened twice. And I mean, he was like called into question on that, but it was after they called him into question, because a lot of the times, I mean, and he wasn't ashamed. Lord Nelson was not ashamed. If you started telling him, well, look, you've got this hooker you're over there with right now that's Venetian, and you're English, and you're talking about how great English is, it is to be England and be Britain. And he would just, he would always say, well, yeah, but I give up my arm and my eye, fucker. Would you give up?
Yeah, you can't argue with that, can you?
No, well, you can't. But in that time, I think political correctness was just as bad, Maz. So, and I want you to think about this, because he did not live in Great Britain for the majority of his life. He lived elsewhere where he could live the life that he wanted, associating with the people that he wanted. So
do you think they were attacking him just because he was English, even though he wasn't there, sort of thing?
Well, I think there was a lot of reasons. Number one, he was an upstart. He came from nobodies, and there was that, and it was more in vogue back then to be racist, and he should have had a wilting lily at home in England, some lily white, lady of the manor at home on the lands that the king gave him for his valiant service, and sowed his wild oats as he saw fit, but he didn't live that way. You know, he just didn't roll with Lord Nelson. I should look this up now. I'm going to look it
Yeah,
up.
yeah. While you do that,
I want to get her name.
while you do that, in a silly way, if anyone's ever seen it, it's making me think of the TV series Sharp, starring Sean Bean, and that is kind of all red coats, green coats, French wars, and all that kind of stuff. And I used to watch it because what I loved about it is he didn't give a fuck either. There was this guy in charge of a unit that just did the job that he was supposed to with a proper common accent, and he cared little for the officers.
Yeah, so here's the Isle of Nevis. Lady Nelson, Nelson's wife, formerly Frances Franny of Nesbit of the island of Nevis, West Indies. And so, I mean, his whole deal was off the beaten path. You know, of course, it's Lady Nelson because he was Lord Nelson. He could have married a daggone Negro from Papua New Guinea, and they would have been Lord Ungabunga. I mean, Lady Ungabunga, excuse me, because he's Lord Nelson, right? So
Yeah.
whoever he marries, it's Lady, whatever. But so I'm looking on Wikipedia now too, and I'm not quite sure where to dig right down into. I just went right to his wife, but Lady Nesbit. Mediterranean, yes, the Mediterranean service. Nelson sailed as part of the division under command of Vice Admiral William Hotham, joined later in the month by the rest of Lord Hood's fleet. Blah 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 blah. Naples. What did I say? Venice. I said Venice, but it was Naples. I'm so sorry. And, you know,
I think someone mentioned that actually, or no, or it may have been on a slight different joke.
No, not shocked. We have some very intelligent people that hang out here. Yeah, here we go. In fact, AlphaGo said Emma Hamilton. So I mean, the guy went through some women.
Hey, he was the early rock star. He was grabbing all the pussy he could.
He was grabbing it all, and he was just like Trump, as you mentioned that so very gracefully. He was the same way. He was like, well, yeah, I grabbed the pussy, but I lost a fucking arm and an eye, nigga. What you want?
Yeah, we need to honor people that have done good things for whatever country you live in, and stop just calling them names. They did what they thought was right, and the world, whether you like it or not, is a better place today because of it. And there are safer areas.
Yeah, I'm not going to make this a boring, but I'm looking at Genoa and all this stuff. I mean, Lord Nelson was something, man. I tell you, the men like him are so long gone. Wellington's another one. I don't want to believe this, but I'm going to tell you what I do feel, what I think in my heart of hearts, without a doubt. When Churchill died, the last British leader died. There was like a whiff of it with Margaret Thatcher, but it was pretty much gone with Churchill. And before that, you look at your leaders, and man, you look at your men of war, and you had them. You actually had them.
Well, there was no concession. They played to win.
Yeah. Meaning what?
Meaning that we're going to leave you alone, but if you start something, we will crush you.
Well, Wellington was so serious about it. He said that the playground of youth, the sporting grid of youth, forges the man of battle. You know, he was saying getting used to being hit and to strategically going through your plays and different sporting events got you ready. I mean, this is a guy that looked at the win in the military aspect of everything. Wellington.
Yeah. And let's not forget, we have to mention that they learned from someone. Look at The Art of War, Sun Tzu. How many thousands of years ago was that? And people were planning this. The game of chess, how many thousands of years ago was that implemented as a way of teaching your soldiers tactics? we've been doing it from the start of human evolution. So to suddenly pull forward and say, well, only the white nasty people are doing it now. Yeah, okay.
Man, that's a fact. Yeah, I'm looking to Nelson's mission to Corsica. They kept him in this one area as much as they could, but whenever they needed Lord Nelson, I mean, you think of the Nile, man. Whew. But he was able to go there and do what he did because he was in the Mediterranean a lot. They kept him there. And I think, you know, from what I've read and what I know about him, he had a lot of influence on where he could go. And let's not forget, he was conscripted by the king, but I don't want to, oh man, Duquesne, I'm just having that big of a brain seizure. Let me get back up here. The Albemarle, that was his ship.
All right, I didn't know that.
Comes right down to it. Of course, the king owned that ship, but he was in command of it, and it took a long time to get commands from the, you know, I mean, the king's a long way away. That's, I don't know how else to say it. You can do what you want to do.
And then probably back then as well, although he's doing it for his own benefit, the king and the queens probably worked more for the people back then than they do now. That yes, they're the powerful ones. Yes, they've got the money. Yes, they're in charge. But if they didn't keep the people happy, it was pitchforks and fire torches.
Oh, yeah. When he was a Commodore, he was over the. Of course, he was captain of the Albemarle, and then he was also the Commodore of the Argo and the Enterprise. I am reading these. I did know the Albemarle. I needed a brain jog. You just think, man, we had one good naval commander on our side at this time, and his name was John Paul Jones. But he wasn't American. I mean, he came from Scotland. I want to say Scotland, yes, and maybe Ireland, whatever. But yeah, here we go. I'm going to play a tune. In fact, I think we both need a little break, a little leg stretch. Been nice to talk. I'm not sure how long we'll go on. I'm going to go on as long as Maz reasonably wants to, and our conversation is pleasing to you and to us. So, you know what? I mocked the Rolling Stones earlier, so hell with it. Here's a little something from them. Can't you hear me knocking?
Well, I never been to Spain, but I kinda like the music. See, the ladies are insane there, and they sure know how to use it. They don't abuse it, never gonna lose it. I can't refuse it. Well, I never been to England, but I kinda like the Beatles. Well, I hit it for Las Vegas, only made it out to meet us. Can you feel it? Must be real, feels so good, oh, feels so good. Well, I never been to heaven, but I've been to Oklahoma. Well, they tell me I was born there, but I really don't remember. In Oklahoma, not Arizona. What does it matter? What does it matter? say the ladies are insane there, and they sure know how to use it. They don't abuse it, never gonna lose it. I can't refuse it. Oh, well, I've never been to heaven, but I've been to Oklahoma. Oh, they tell me I was born there, but I really don't remember. In Oklahoma, not Arizona. What does it matter? What does it matter?
It's nice when I have a guest that understands how the music works. You know, you pop it on when you feel like taking a break. And that's how it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. It's the chat, the technical wizardry that goes on behind the scenes. You just don't know.
Oh, I've gotten used to it. But in the old days, haven't done it in probably 6 months. But in the old days, I would watch back to see if you could tell when I was going down to type something with this hand and do something with the mouse with this hand, because I'm trying to just make it look like I'm just sitting here. But obviously, anything that happens here, it's more apparent when Common Sense Guy is on, and I'm working as his producer with all, you know, hey man, I'm gonna lie. That's really what I'm doing then. I'm his co-host and producer, even when he's on my channel. And of course, I mean, you've noticed, Maz, when he says, "Oh, if you got that one story," you know, pow, that's what I do. I mean, I try to make sure that shit gets popped up and screen shared, and everybody gets links or whatever that may be.
And there's a little tip for everyone that's never actually been in chat. First of all, I'd fully recommend it. But when you go into a Google Hangout, in the middle of your screen at the top on the left is a mute button. So when someone else is speaking or when music is playing, I always put myself on mute. And you can't see it in the video, but I can see it in the Google Hangout. Then if two people are speaking and I feel like I need to make a point, I will take myself off mute. A producer will notice it, and we get there. Oh man,
Maz,
it's cool stuff.
Maz.
Cool stuff.
Maz,
Yeah.
AlphaGo is looking at the chat right now. Look at that. Read what AlphaGo just wrote. The last thing she wrote.
Thank you, Alpha. I appreciate that.
Read it out loud. Read it word for word out loud.
I'm gonna do it in a posh voice. This guy sounds like Cabbage's nicer twin. Thank you very much, Alpha. I appreciate that. I'll try not to disappoint you.
I still hold out hope that Cabbage will be back around. I know he's
a funny dude.
Yeah, I don't want to go any deeper than that, but because I get upset too. I've been upset about things. I'm not sure if he's even upset. I won't even lie. Cabby is just a funny dude. He's been around for a long time, though, man. I pulled up some archives, and he started he was one of the founding members of a radio show, 1995, 96-ish. And yeah, he's been around for a long time. He's a very, very good guy, man. I would never, it would be difficult for me to dredge up anything bad to say about Cabbage Patch Bastard, because if I found one bad word to say right now on air, Maz, you want me to tell you the truth? He would win. So I would not say anything bad about him. He's a hell of a guy. Excellent feller.
Well, I'm obviously new to this whole platform stuff and talking, and I've only been on a few streams, but if anyone is genuinely going to take anything that someone's doing on a stream or in Twitter, or if you're going to be offended by that, you probably need to look at yourself first. Just listen to what everyone says. If you don't agree with it, don't carry it. Don't tell people.
Now. So now you're
yeah.
Because so
no, I'm just, you know, it's not turn the other cheek, but if someone calls me a name, I'm not going to be offended by it. You know, it's Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I'm looking at chat now. But you know, it
Well, I don't
what
think
does
you
it
were saying
matter?
turn the other cheek. You were saying more of yeah, no, it just sounded very biblical, sounded very Christ-like, if I may. It's so funny to me that you hardcore
I asked you
atheists,
not to dox me.
I'm just telling you, you hardcore atheists, Maz, you
I
turn
mean,
out to
yeah.
be, you are more religious and more not religious, not the word. Hang on, give me a second. You are more virtuous and more interested in being so than most Christians I know. In other words, you know, you want to do good, and it seems very evangelical.
No, I definitely I want better for people. I feel like I've had a decent life, and I feel like most people could have that. And I genuinely feel like for a lot of people, it's within themselves instead
Aren't you
of
glad that Jesus made you that way?
well, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I'm not gonna. I'm closer to atheist, but you know, if there was a God, would I be upset about it? Maybe not. You know, and sometimes I wish there was.
This is the big question. If there was a God and you had to meet him when you died, would you be okay with it? Would you be able to look at him and say, I've heard of you. May I speak for a moment if necessary?
No, I'd be pissed at him that I didn't get to suck on more tits.
Maybe he would like you all the more. I
Yeah,
mean, you don't know.
yeah. You know. Well, as always, I'd let him ask the first question.
Well, let's remember my with something that I do, with something that I've been involved in, something that I have a minor degree in, is theology. But not so much what you would think of it. It's actually would be titled divinity. So where you think of the theology, and you think of divinity, the divine, there's two huge differences there. There's two monolithic things there. And I would always point people back to the divine, to divinity. I mean, what is it, Maz, that would make you want to choose what you would consider to be the virtuous path, as I put it? If you have a different way to put it, as I was saying, you were virtuous, more virtuous than a lot of Christians I know. So if there's another, and if, you know, and whatever, if there's a different name you want to give it, why do you feel the need to be that way?
Well, I don't know if I'll explain it properly, but I just look at the people I've met in my life and how they treat people around them. The good people I like, the bad people I don't. And in honesty, that most of the Christians that I've personally met, and now I'm not talking about hashtag not all of them, but most of the Christians I've met are calm, nice, peaceful people. So I've got no issue with them. Most of the Jewish people I've met are nice, calm,
But that's not
honest,
the question.
you know.
That's not the question.
Yeah, sorry.
So the question is, what is it that would cause you to want to be virtuous? What is it inside of, what do you call that spark? What is that thing that drives you toward the virtuous?
Again, I don't know how to explain it. I think it's the way I've been brought up. I was brought up to treat people decently, and society. The area I was brought in. Let me give you an example. When I was younger, I can remember celebrating the Queen's what was it, silver anniversary, the 25th Jubilee anniversary, or whatever it was, and I went out of my front door. And the street was lined with tables that had British flags on them, and all the children were sitting at the tables eating food, and all the parents in a community were running around and arranging games and talking to each other.
Everyone.
And maybe I never saw it, but some of them must have been getting drunk and some of them wasn't. But it was just
fuck,
people,
bloody hell, most of them were
coexisting.
Oh God.
Just
Sorry,
people
carry
coexisting.
on. They were all getting drunk, but so paint this picture. So in other words, you're looking up one side of the street, down the other, and everywhere you see youth partaking of a wonderful spread of whatever delicious English treats are spread out before them.
Yep.
And you see the mothers bustling about and bringing said treats to the tables and making sure that Johnny's not putting his hand up
Yep.
Sally's skirt
Yep.
and whatnot. And the fathers mucking about with their pints
And it wasn't
of ale. That's what
It
you
wasn't
see.
just my parents had to stand behind me and keep their eye on me because they don't know what's going to happen to me, but it was my neighbors were watching out for me. You know,
Everyone was.
you know, and it was a family event. It was a true British family event.
So here it is, the 25th Jubilee, and here we are. We're spread out. We're all having a good time. You look up one side of your street and down the other, and you see Britons doing things that Britons do. How does that make? How did that make you feel? How old were you when this happened?
I can't remember the exact date, but I feel like I was around maybe 7, 8-ish. I was a child. I was sitting at the table, and parents were bringing me sausage rolls. You know, man, and
I'm going to keep you on this dream thought.
That's lost.
That's lost. So you
Yeah.
never so today we're going now from this land of pixies and fairy dust where, oh my God, I would like to be there, man. I can't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, today
tell me what a sausage roll is.
Well, if you imagine minced sausage, so sort of kind of sausage meat, there is, and then it's wrapped up in puff pastry, so that when you cook it, the pieces, so you've got this sausage meat that's easy to digest in pastry, covered in butter, baking oil. I'm not a chef. I don't know.
All right, I get it. So it's a pastry filled with sausage crumbles.
Sausage meat, we'd call it.
Yes. Yeah, very good, very good.
British
Right,
staple.
So now take me on. So apparently, you look up one side of the street when you're 8 years old. You look down the other. Young kids with gravy-soaked hands stuffing sausage rolls into their chubby English faces, just loving their country. You never see that nowadays. There's never a time where there's a
no. This was a street event. Oh, I'll tell you. I don't want to say it, but I'll tell you in a minute where you do see it. This was a street event where the community, where all the houses in one area, the people came out, stood on the street and said, we're going to celebrate this event. We're this country, we're all the same people, we're going to celebrate this event. Now, recently in the news, the best way I can give an example of today is where this happened, I believe, was in Birmingham at the end of Ramadan, where 140,000 Muslims descended upon this one area to celebrate the end of what's it called? The last day where you can feast. Yeah.
You're ruining my whole deal.
Sorry, but that is the difference. That is the difference. We used to celebrate what my avatar was, and we're not allowed to do that anymore.
So so in the last year, there's never a time in your country that you can tell me some big festival where you look up and down the street and we see what we talked about, the Englishness, the British part of it, but there is
St. George's Day. And this is slowly dying out, but there are some areas that still celebrate St. George's Day, and there are some areas that don't.
What about Guy Fawkes Day, isn't it? When's your
November the 5th, fireworks.
Yeah.
Technically, we're celebrating the fact that Guy Fawkes didn't bring down government, and I'm not sure he was, yeah, that's what we should be celebrating anymore.
That's not what we're celebrating anymore, but carry on.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the World Cup, for instance, and Mr. CSG's video on the English flag on the St. George Cross, it just says it all. I've heard so many stories where
let me tell you something.
Police will warn people, don't put up that English flag in your window because your windows might get broken.
What? Hey,
yeah,
you're
exactly.
supposed to stop that from happening, copper.
Exactly. Ruled by consent. That is what the police are supposed to do, and I don't consent to the way they're ruling.
Hey, you bring him up though, man. It makes me think about it. What kind of balls does common sense guy have?
2 big hanging ones.
Because you just said, I mean, even that. I mean, I every time I turn around, and a lot of Yanks that I've sent there and that I've met him through the Yankville here in America, they watch this and they don't even get it, Maz. But every other video he puts out, I'm going, holy shit! When are they going to kick his? They're going to kick his door in.
Oh yeah, no, exactly, and that's why And I know in some ways, Mr. CSG's been saying he wishes more and more that Sargon maybe would start mentioning this stuff. But I think in some ways, I'm even scared when Mr. CSG does it, because as soon as he brings out one of these videos, I think, shit, he's going to get banned. And I don't want him to.
He has more to lose than Sargon.
No, not that he's got more to lose, but it's the Tommy Robinson effect. Mr. CSG is more and more touching on it now.
Every one of you should be training your dog to Sig Heil. You should all be out front of whatever courthouse is doing the Muzzy rape stuff. Every one of you, all of you.
Yeah.
Because they got two choices: arrest you all, or fuck off.
Well, that's the one thing I'm worried about is, let's say the religion of peace decided to rise. I'm not sure the English people could coordinate themselves against it.
So you got balls too, calling religion of peace. I tell you what.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to make the channel safe. But you know what I mean? If there was an uprising of an insurgency, shall we call it, the English common people, and I mean British, but obviously because I'm English, it just comes out. But could the British people rally themselves to fight against it? And I'm not talking about the police. I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about your everyday. If 12 people come running at you with machetes, how do you, in that panic moment, rally yourselves together as people?
I'll tell you how you do it. Much like Adolf Hitler did with the supposed blood-soaked Nazi flag after the beer hall incident in 1932, I believe it was, and all of the SS. And yes, I'm drawing a parallel. Not saying that Nazis are good. I'm just telling you. And all, think of the yin yang while I speak, folks. See it in your mind right now as I speak. Call up your mantra. See the yin yang in your mind. See the black with the white dot. See the white with the black dot. Right now, I'm speaking of the black with the white dot. So we see these things happen throughout history. It's not always bad to say we are going to be for our country, okay? It's not always bad to say we are going to be for people that enjoy sausage rolls and St. George's flags and parades celebrating the fact that we beat the Kaiser in 1914 and that we beat Hitler in 1943. These things are good. They're not bad, but they're being treated as bad. You're telling me now, I really want to stay on it. I've got to get your thoughts on this, Moz, because what you're telling me now that the old ways are gone, and now we have 100,000 Muslims come together in Birmingham, and they have a Ramadan, and they have this big thing, and it's so more power to them. But you're also saying that the transverse, the old ways are gone, and there are no 100,000 Englishmen getting together with their wives bustling about with sausage rolls anymore.
Yeah, in some ways, and let's make it Conspiracy Sunday, but in some ways, I think the governments have shaped our culture and fashioned our people in such a way to try and bring down the nuclear family, to try and break up that idea of what it is to be British. And it's something I've mentioned before. I do think Britishness as itself is dying. But when I say that, and this can be a conversation for another day, Britishness is dying, but I'm not actually blaming that on immigration or any. I just think the people of Britain, when they're having their children, when we're moving from generation to generation, we're not teaching them the right lessons, and we're not allowed to tell them anymore why it's okay to be British. And whether that's government intervention, I'm not sure. As I said, it's just something I'm thinking about.
Well, yeah, I got much more here. Probably got maybe a song or two. It's totally up to you, Moz. It's good to be here today. I did do I'm Back, Bitches. I haven't looked far back, but I sent Lord Quinn a link So him not being here tells me that either he had something to do. I know I seen him say something earlier. So I don't know if he was going to come on, can't now, busy, it's late. I have no idea. But obviously we haven't seen him. But I'm kind of glad it worked out the way it did. Maz, I hope to have you back on.
Anytime.
I want to press you a little bit about something personal. You seem to have in the past, and this would listen, sir. I've got. I'm a professional, so I'm doing this for you. I'm good. So it seems that you have communicated to me that it's not the easiest thing in the world for you to do when you're expressing thoughts and ideas for other people, especially in this venue. Now, you never told me that you had any kind of agoraphobia, any kind of phobias, like any time of heart palpitating fears of public speech, but you did kind of communicate that maybe it wasn't your first choice. Why would you even bother to come on here if that's the case? And since you have, knowing that it is, how does it feel? Isn't it good to conquer these things and to be able to communicate like that?
Yeah, the honest open thing is I'm not a showy person. I'm really quite modest and I'm just really quite laid back. Call me a hippie if you like. And eventually I got led to your channel one way or the other, and I saw people openly discussing subjects, talking about things, and the subject didn't matter. If you want to talk about mad monkeys raping future humans on the moon, that's a subject we can talk about, and that is why I'm here now. It wasn't, from my point of view, my old laptop trying to get a microphone, you know what it was like trying to get set up and trying to get here. I'm not stupid.
Job too, sir. You did a fine
Yeah,
job.
I'm not stupid. I don't consider myself a super intellectual in the philosophy sphere or anything like that. It was just, not just the panel, but chat. It's all people that are of the same vein. They have the same kind of issues and the same thoughts and the same discussions. And I was just like, I'm going to jump on, and I jumped in, tried to make a point, and that's just it. It's the platform itself, and it's not just you, Mr. Ogu, who does it very well. Excuse me. It's not Mr. CSG who does it very well. It's not Mr. Quinn who does it. It's the inclusion as well. I watch lots of channels, and people do the best they can, but I don't think I've found a channel where people are so interactive with the chat, where they want people's opinions, where they listen to people's opinions, where they ask for subjects to discuss.
Do you think we can get the African guy that was on tonight with CSG?
Oh, I don't think I want him.
Okay.
It's that willingness to go out to talk to people, even when they are blindly, stubbornly just saying, no, everything you say is wrong. Everything you say is wrong. And it's like, well, I've jumped into chat here or on the panel, as I've done a couple of times, and I honestly I feel like, and why Conspiracy Wednesdays is I can say the stupidest shit that comes into my mind, and people won't label you or name you or call you anything for it. They'll discuss why it's a good reason or why it's not a good reason.
Most people around here know that I do believe that the earth is flat, mate. In fact, I don't think that we live on an earth like most people think. I think that if you were to look out all around you on a flat plane, put your arms out like you're playing airplane when you're a kid, keep them flat, and do a 360, and everything you see, I think it goes for infinity like that. I think there's other spots like this spot on this huge, infinite flat plane where there is a solar flare, whatever our sun may be.
Yeah,
that's
and it isn't the biggest
miles away.
Isn't the biggest reason why they say they don't want you to know that truth is because you and I might decide to just get up and walk in a certain direction. Yeah, and we're no longer their slaves.
Yeah, well, and people try to say, well, yeah, look, man, you can just go. I was watching this guy today because I even mentioned it earlier. there's a dude that did think, as they say that Australia doesn't exist. Australia exists, okay, but he was like, well,
Possibly.
you can just go to Antarctica. No, you can't. Try. Lots of people try. There's people that get funding and they try. Once you get so close to Antarctica from any direction, because Antarctica people have found, everybody that's went around Antarctica says it's about 56,000 miles around. The only way that makes sense is if it goes around, and that's Magellan. I mean, look, just check it out. 52 to 58,000 miles around Antarctica is that little island that's supposed to be below. No, it's a huge barrier that goes around this area that our planet, whatever you want to call it, it's all globular. Everything you said, when you say planet, you think of a marble. It's all globular, and that's how they have you programmed. They've done that to program you from the time you were very young. There is no outer space. NASA's a joke. It's a fancy picture show. Stanley Kubrick engineered the moon landing, and he didn't do as good a job on that as he did in Space Odyssey. And so no
Yeah,
one
in a side way.
No one will look down on you because you say something
Exactly. In a side way, you've just personified exactly why I'm here talking now, exactly why I follow this channel, is because you've said your thing and I've listened. I'll say my thing and you'll listen. So just in the stream that Mr. CSG was on, I'm going to use their you. The earth is not flat, it's actually a pyramid. Egypt proves that, and move on. And now anything from this point forward that you say to try and debunk that, I'm going to go, no, you're wrong. And that's why I'm here on this platform, is because you will actually listen and discuss it instead of just shrugging it off, no matter how crazy.
And here we got Loafer Sheffield says sausage rolls 4 for the price of 3. Pronounce Eid. Maz says yes, of course. Matt Barkley says it's bad if white people do it. Again, Matt says it really is that simple. Matt Barkley says I hate public speaking at Barkley unless I'm drunk. Then I don't give a shit. Unless he's drunk. So I guess this is what I got. Oh, and then lastly, Loafer Sheffield just said drunk, beer 1, frosty ferret.
Thirsty ferret.
First,
that would be a TH for someone who's not a Cockney. Right. Thirsty.
So tell me what the fuck, you read that one and tell me what it means and decipher that for me.
Drunk beer 1, thirsty ferret. It's actually the name of a beer from the Badger Brewery. It's a nutty taste hint of Seville oranges. 4.4%.
4.4 is my street too, man. I don't like that shit that's so strong that once you drink 4 of them, you fuck, man. I like to have a few drinks. Few beers, but
can I just say exactly right? Sorry, with me doing my African rant, he just said it was written by people that look like you, and that seems to be their big argument.
Oh my!
These laws are wrong because it was written by people that look like you.
All right, so listen, do me a favor. You said when you speak, I speak. So do me a favor. I did a lot of speaking right here on this thing that was supposed to be you, myself, and Lord Quinn. So if I think about it, I've taken more than a third. I've taken more than half. I want you to really tell me what you feel about this, Maz. Dig deep and take
about what? Everything.
No, what you just. I'm getting here. I'm almost done, and you'll know what to do. And what I mean is up to 8 minutes. Take your time. What we were listening to, the idea that it's your Pinky's laws. I know you were seeing the side chat and listening as I was. What you saw today, the idea that white people are so horrible, but then they sometimes I feel like they want to have it both ways. They built everything, we owe them everything, and they have to follow our laws, blah, 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 blah. So just, I don't want to even prod any more than that. Based on what you saw today, where Common Sense Guy was, tell me about it. Are we evil because we're pink? Am I bad because I started calling him doo-doo? I don't know if you saw that. I was calling him doo-doo.
Yeah, I saw that.
Doo-doo brown, like the doo. So, what's up with that? Tell me what you think about that.
In times past, there used to be laws that applied to everyone. And today, there's laws that apply to most people. Now, someone would say, that's what I'm talking about. That's why black people are picked on. No, I'm actually talking about certain groups that are allowed to get away with certain crimes because they're a minority and they're oppressed. I can't understand why laws just don't apply to everyone anymore. You're in Britain. You're not allowed to kill people. If you kill someone, you go to prison or you get the fuck out. Oh, but that's racist. That's this and that's that. And I have no time for. There's no way I can spread this to 8 minutes because I simply have no time for anyone who can sit there. And I say to them, if someone rapes a child, they should go to prison. I have no time for anyone who can sit there and go, oh, but this and but that and but just argue the facts against you, just the reality of it. Like if I said to someone, when you wake up in the morning, the sun is in the sky, okay? And they go, oh yeah, but that's a social construct. That's white man's sun. That's white man's science. That's what. No, these are just facts. They're just reality. Some people believe that reality is not quite true. Some people believe that the world's round. Some people believe the world's flat, and everyone's allowed to have that opinion. Everyone's allowed to think about stuff in virtual different ways, because who knows that at some stage in the future, because of our limited understanding, we might actually discover that the world is flat and everyone was wrong and everyone was duped. We just don't know that. But if we don't talk about it and if we don't ask these questions, we're cutting off 50-75% of our knowledge. But just don't.
Yeah, well, here's the idea that, no, go ahead. But I want you to think about this. So the whole argument, the biggest argument I hear is that their resources, they go to Admiral Byrd, where he's like, oh no, don't worry about stuff to discover because we got Antarctica and beyond, and there's so many resources that could never, and then they didn't find it. And then what, are they going to call him a liar? The guy was been there and he went way into Antarctica and realized that as far as he knew at the time, Maz, he could have went forever. So the distance across the island that's supposed to be down there, he already went that times 10.
But then maybe I would like to ask, maybe he went to a different dimension or traveled through a different door. And you would be openly, honestly willing to discuss it.
So what's wrong with that? Do you think that it's impossible that the dome that I believe is over our part, when you got to that dome, that it didn't stop you, but when you went through it, boom, 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 that you were in another dimension? Is that
I'm just a dirty round earther. But
no. So bear with me. I'm asking
willing to look
is that possible? So now you're in another dimension.
Yeah.
You're not even in. Forget about flat plane that goes on infinitely, as I spoke of. You go beyond the dome. You may have went in who knows what direction, completely into another place, time, and dimension.
Yeah, and the reason why this is not a question that I could answer is because if it happens to you, it's relative and you wouldn't know the difference. You and I could both exist on different planes at this very moment, but it's relative. So my life seems normal to me. Your life seems normal to you. And we don't know the difference.
Yeah. What color is that shirt behind me right there?
Well, this is a wonderful thing. I'm not even going to say it because I've always said what happens outside, what I'm looking at now, my guitar, my fan, which is an actual fan, not someone who I'm chained up and he loves me, but I call that color in the background green on that t-shirt. I would call that green. But that doesn't mean I'm seeing the same thing that you're seeing, because your brain interprets it in one way and my brain interprets it in a different way.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was prodding you toward.
What I'm seeing as green, but you just don't know. What I'm seeing there is the reflection of light off of an object. I don't even know that is a t-shirt. I just see reflection of light off an object and my brain interprets it as a t-shirt hanging over a speaker.
Yeah, I like that flag too. No, but I'm with you, and that was the whole
Oh, that's the
point.
best one.
When we look at something and I see green and you see green, how do I know that that green that you see is the
It's
green
the
that I see,
same.
and vice versa?
Yeah.
No idea, no way to know.
Not only just for that T-shirt, but on the whole screen of the laptop that I'm seeing. Everything. Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
Oh,
Light.
do you see the dead chicken back there, the rubber chicken? I've got something
yes.
new.
Is it actually on the T-shirt or the hanging thing next to your middle finger, or is it next to it? Yeah, I've no
not on the
3D perception.
It's there. It's a 3D thing that I can pick up and grab. It came
Wow.
from the UK.
Do it. That would be
Look. Oh,
freaky.
okay, hang on.
From my point of view, because it looks like it's printed on
And
the
thing
T-shirt.
is I get my
Guys.
I get my cannabis seeds from the UK, from Attitude Seed Banks, and this is what they came in this time. The head pops off, and they were all in here, in there, labeled, labeled bags.
Yeah, so now that's a 3D thing that you hold. Go and put it pause, and it just appears like it's printed on the T-shirt.
Yes. Oh.
3D
Well, yeah, because everything
to
was
2D.
3D because of the camera thing, but yes.
Yeah.
No, it's a rubber chicken. Not even squeeze.
Hey, don't scare her in the background.
Don't give a shit about it. She doesn't care. Don't care about it.
Well, I guess she's used to.
I throw it out. No,
chickens.
she likes her rubber ball, her round ball. Where's your ball, Billy Dog? Gas the juice? Where's your ball? Gas the juice? Want gas the juice, Lily? Huh? Oh, sorry. I was having some alone time with my dog with you all.
Yeah. And she's German at heart.
Oh,
obviously,
she is
being a
German.
Doberman.
Pure
So
blood. That's pure blood Dobie. She just don't. It's 93 degrees outside Fahrenheit right now, which is probably 40 Celsius, 42 somewhere. It's hot.
warm.
Yeah, it's hot, very hot. And she's already been out there a couple times, and now she's just ready to take a break. The sun beating down on her black ass. Germans are supposed to be so smart, and I love my Doberman, but I gotta say this: with the black fur and very short fur, they're no good in the cold, bitter cold. We have coats made for her and booties and stuff, and then they're no good in the heat. The black fur, I mean, like this hot. So I mean, what'd you do, Germany? You made a mean
well,
ass
it's not even
dog.
that.
I love my
Don't
dog.
blame
She's
the
mean as shit.
dog. Most dogs, especially in a domestic
All right, Maz, hang on, stop.
hang on. They didn't.
Hang,
Sorry, go on.
hang on, Maz. Before we go on, just cancel out of this. Copy the link to get back in here and cancel right out and come back in to see if that cancels, because you've been roboting so bad. I want everybody to hear you. All right, Maz will be right back. I'm sure he digs it. Just get, jump out, yep, and come back, Maz. And because I want to hear him, man. I mean, it's like twice there. I want to be polite also. But man, we got to hear what he says. We can't have the, domo origato, Mr. Roboto. Domo. Oh, what is that? Sticks? I am a modern man. Secret, I got a secret. Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, there it is. The rubber chicken. I love the rubber chicken. I'm going to keep it. It's going to stay as a part. This is Old Rasputin. This is brew. Comes 4 in a pack. Made in Michigan right here. Brewed and bottled in not Michigan. Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And it's tough stuff. You don't want to have more than 2 or 3 of them. Well, depending upon what you desire, what you really want. So look, it might be me. There's Maz. Let's see how you doing, brother. Did it fix it? I am.
Hello?
There you are.
A process and a half.
Oh, that sounds much better though.
Cool.
Yeah, you were like Domo Origato, Mr. Roboto, Domo Origato.
Yeah, so what I was gonna say was, don't blame the dogs because they've been bred to be a certain way. Lily wasn't bred to be warm. Lily wasn't bred to find rabbits in a foxhole. Lily was bred to guard a post. And when you walk up on her and look at her, she fucking terrifies you.
Mrs. Ogre? Damn, I want her in here to say this. I'm just going to tell you, Mrs. Ogre, she was the one that saw her do it, but I see it quite often. I've had a cat twice in my life. This dog kills mice. She hunts and kills mice. Mrs. Ogre finally saw her because we got field mice. I mean, you've seen my farm videos, maybe, but this is farmland out here. We have muskrats, dude. I don't know if you ever seen one of them nasty bastards, but we got all kinds of shit out here. She kills it. Just like the kid, there was a kid walking on the road yesterday, man. We're watching videos. I'm chilling yesterday, and man, Lily's right to the fence, and there's not much I can do to stop her. There's two things wrong with me stopping her too. When she sees someone and she goes out there, and I know the fence is there stopping, for me to make her cease and desist is telling her that it's a bad thing that when she sees somebody she don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we have a dog where I live as well, and you can let her out into the front tiny garden to do her business, and anyone that walks past, it's her territory, and she will bark and. Oh, sorry, Lily. Calm down. Gas the juice.
I'm sorry. I give her the word. Go ahead.
But yeah,
I want her to be mean. I tell her to be.
Well, dogs 100% are down to their owners. If you got a shitty evil owner, you're gonna have a shitty evil dog.
What are you trying to say? What is it? Whatever do you mean, sir, in this context?
Well, what I mean,
I don't know if I like what you
did because you're a decent owner.
No,
I watch.
I'm the shitty evil owner.
No. I'm saying if you have a shitty evil owner of a dog, that dog is going to be evil and shitty.
Lily,
I'm not. Well, yeah, but she's fairly timid now. There's a YouTube guy I follow, and I apologize if I get his name wrong, especially. It's Mike Strickland, and I believe he's an ex or a former Navy SEAL who trains dogs. And I actually, not that I'm trying to train dogs, but if you watch him and the way he talks about dogs, and it's the same thing, he'll say, your dog's angry and aggressive because you are as a person. But that's not an angry and an aggressive dog there.
Man, she's not. I have her trained by voice and hand signals. I was only given an excuse because why I let her just go off on people when she's in the fence. And I do. People walk up, which is rarely, but summertime, we go from no one lives around here to every little cabin and shack and trailer home in the woods around. It's full right now. It's summertime in the woods, the north woods of Michigan. So the townies all come up, and I don't know, some kid was going down the road with his Beats headphones. I could see the bee on him going down there, walking down the road. She went out there. I don't stop her. And when I'm on the porch, I was on the porch smoking a cigar. I don't like call her back or say, no, Lily, calm down. I do not. In fact, if anything, I give her little tiny things that the person at the road 50 feet away can't really hear me. It doesn't sound like I'm encouraging, but she knows.
Yeah. No, there's no reason why not. Because again, it's all about your own environment. And one of the things I've heard before, and I do believe is true, that if a dog goes out into its space and tries to protect it and starts shouting and barking, if you shout at the dog thinks that you're joining in and trying to protect the same space. So you can't shout at the dog. You have to calmly say, no, don't do it. Come, and that
the
works.
One thing that I work very hard on is that Lily will sit and lay down from long distances. If I can see her and she can hear me and I say, Lily, sit. Look, she's freaking out now 'cause she's laying down. Lily.
Yeah. She's thinking, I'm already sitting, you idiot.
Or even go like this. Lily. And she's like, I'm laying down because she will lay down or sit at a good girl, at a long distance. Because to me, whatever fuckery your dog's getting up to, if you can get her to sit and lay down, she's probably going to be out of trouble. You know, I nearly got her killed calling her back to me from across the road that's right in front of me, where most people, it's a little country road, but it's well paved. And you've got places like this in England everywhere. Well paved little country road in the middle of nowhere. It connects nowhere to nowhere. It's got little traffic, but the traffic that's on it is doing 70 mile an hour. It's doing 140 kilometer an hour. Yeah.
And I think a better example is, maybe we don't realize it, but you're teaching your dog things that are relevant to your situation. I don't know where you live, but if you go out for a walk in the woods with her and she suddenly starts chasing a wild boar with huge tusks, you don't want her to interact with them. So if you can say lay down and she stops, you may have just saved that dog's life.
Saved her life. Well, she just went after a deer. Now, I'd let her go. Mrs. Over was yelling. In fact, I yelled at her a couple times, but then I just let her go. She was ignoring me. I could have said lay down. She was doing. This dog can run probably a good 60 kilometers an hour.
4-leg drive.
She can go, man. And she's, of all the dogs we've had, but you know, I've had like my dog that was half Doberman and half Pit, that could run as fast as her for about 4 years until she was about 4 years old. Man, that dog was an alcoholic. Maz, I'm not even kidding. I'm not kidding. She would drink. If she liked alcohol, she'd tip drinks over to get to him. She'd beg for food.
Was she a mean drinker though?
Oh man. Oh my goodness. Thorn was her name. She was vicious. She was vicious. In fact, on Chris's birthday, I won't say his full name, but on Chris's birthday, 21st birthday, he had a fifth of El Toro tequila. And I was like, we had a barrel of beer that night. I said, tell you what, he's like, I'm going to drink this bottle. I said, tell you what, I don't think you're going to drink that bottle, but my dog Thorn will have, and she drank with all of us out in the garage. I was like, my dog Thorn will have a 6-ounce glass of beer, which, I mean, she's only fucking 40 pounds, 6-ounce glass of beer, which would be like 12 for human, for every shot you have. He ended up passed out, puking blood, and I got her to latch on to his leather jacket and just dragging him around the concrete floor, shaking him. He was like, oh, no. Thorn was vicious, though, too. I'll tell you what. She lived with me in a truck for 4 years on the mean roads of America, and I never locked the door of my Kenworth W900. I had a $1,200 watt linear right underneath you could see that my CB rig that was right there, that if you could just get in my truck, it was up there with zip ties, plastic zip ties. If you could just get in my truck and clip 2 zip ties, you could take the CB and linear amplifier with you, and you would have on the black market $4,000 right under your arm. Light too. Yeah, light too, maybe 3 kilos total, but no one ever tried it.
Yeah, and again, another program I watched is what I want people to understand stuff like this. So maybe that's why I'm on as well. Is when you look at dogs and they've all got these big goo eyes that make you fall for them, that make you look after them. That's all inbred. That's all been conditioning over time, and there was a documentary that I watched where they took wild wolves and took the ones that were friendly and they specifically bred them. And over what they classed a period of about 6 generations, they tamed wolves. And that's just what dogs are. Dogs, in evolutionary terms, dogs lived near humans, but not with humans. And when dogs barked, humans got early warnings, and because humans got early warnings of impending danger, they fed the dogs. And so then the dogs with the bigger googly eyes, the lovelier looking dogs, were bred into humanity. Domestication. That's all it is.
Yeah, and you got two choices, mate. So I'm gonna go. We got our final words here too. Don't peter out on me quite yet, but I thought maybe I'd play another song that's 3 minutes and 53 seconds long, and I could get up and go to the loo. You could do whatever you had to do, and I want to say something, Moz, for someone that did, and you pivoted off of that. You notice I didn't press you too much. I just wanted people to, because when people hear you speak, no one probably even now, especially, believes what I said, that you have any kind of problem with, that you have any issues with speaking to anyone in any venue. But here's the thing. It's like so many other little bumps in the road in life. Once you do it, you could be like Moz. You might sound like you've been a radio personality for 15 years, like Moz. I mean, you're succinct, you're clear in your thought patterns. You know what you want to say and how to say it. You're engaging. I like that sound. So there we go. I'm going to crack mine too. So what do you want to do? You want to ramble, or I'm going to play the tune?
Dude, these are my Friday nights now. I'm just chilling out and hanging out with people. People won't see it, but I'm constantly trying to. I'm going to echo it. I'm constantly grifting Mr. Ogre to get people from chatting. We want to know your opinions. We'd like to hear your thoughts on any subject. Don't be afraid. It's difficult to start with, but I'll be honest. When I was trying to get, I'm thinking of so many funny things that people have said to me when I was trying to get my microphone together, when I was trying to get this together and get that together and just actually be able to be here. There was a time I couldn't even be in chat because I didn't have Google Chrome on my laptop working and stuff. It's just figure it out, guys. And girls, but it's not that hard. Just throw your thoughts out there, and no one's going to call you stupid for having an opinion. No one honest is going to call you stupid. There are groups in the world today that will call you stupid, that will call you a Nazi, but not here. Not here. Lily. She did nothing. That's all I have. Okay, let me just quickly respond to Loafer Sheffield. The headphones I'm using, are Turtle Beach headphones that I bought for my Xbox, and they plug into my laptop. You'll figure out how to work that. The microphone I did have to buy separately. Wait for it. I have no recommendations.
Yet I look for the light through the pouring rain. You know that's a game that I hate to lose, and I'm feeling the strain. Ain't it a shame? Oh, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Oh, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Beginning to think that I'm wasting time. I don't understand the things I do. The world outside looks so unkind. I'm counting on you to carry me through. Oh, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Yeah, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. my mind is free. You know a melody can move me. When I'm feeling blue, the guitar's coming through to soothe me. Thanks for the joy that you've given me. I want you to know I believe in your song, rhythm and rhyme and harmony. You've helped me along, making me strong. Oh, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Oh, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Oh, hey, hey, yeah. Give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Now, won't you take me? Oh, take me.
Some of them old tunes take me back, man, especially the Motown. Makes me think of my dear mama. All the wonderful hours we spent together doing whatnot. We used to go and visit my grandma very often, which was a stretch from Flint, Michigan to Cumberland, Maryland. The first bit of it, lots of flat land, but once you got about halfway into Pennsylvania the way we went, halfway through the way we went, in other words, not halfway across the length of that 500-mile wide state, but halfway our way. You were into the Allegheny Mountains, man. Into the mountains. And man, my mama, 1978 Honda Accord, called it a station wagon, but it was basically just a glorified hatchback two-door. That son of a bitch would probably go 140 mile an hour. My mama never took it over 100, but she went 100 very often, and it rode smooth at that. It was scary, though. And my mama, I tell you what else that made me think of, Maz, before I turn it over to you. She loved to read her novels. And before I was old enough to say, Mama, I'll read it to you. And I would get to some part, she'd be like, skip over that one. Skip a couple pages, because it would be like fucking, you know. but until that point, she would, honest to God, we'd be on a long trip going down to see Meemaw and Pap. God rest their souls. I've shown their pictures enough. I won't turn it on right now, but they're there looking down at me. There's her novel in the middle of the steering wheel, and she's glancing from the novel to the road. I'm not saying it can't be done. She did it. I'm alive. But God, it used to scare the fuck out of me.
I kind of want to go on a slightly different subject. Sorry for the cars in the background. I just want to quickly mention to Matt Barkley, we was talking about guitars, and I asked him if he'd professionally had it set up. He said he set it up himself. He's adjusted the truss rod and the saddle. And Mr. Ogre, I think you know what that means. If I don't know Matt Barkley, I don't know how professional and how good he is at playing guitars. But if you're a beginner, especially, do not touch the truss rod. Do not touch the saddle.
From what he just said right now, touch it. Fucking A.
No. If you don't know what the truss rod does.
Well, yeah, of course you do. When you tighten it, it
bends the neck of the guitar.
It brings the back end of the neck down low.
You can higher and lower the action on your strings.
When you loosen it, it makes the strings pull, and it makes it like this. So
so maybe he's saying higher up the neck, it's not working, and I'm thinking he's loosened it and he's lowered the action, maybe. So, and then there's intonation as well. You have to look at the 12th fret.
Oh man, so intonation. If you've just got a regular nut and a regular saddle, you don't even fucking worry about the intonation. I do on my telly I do on my bass over there, one of my basses. I do, but like on that one right there, the intonation set up, but you can see. Listen, on most guitars, you ain't gotta worry too much about your intonation. Play your 12th fret, and if it sounds, if you're looking at your tuner,
Tuner.
and it's just barely out one way or the other, don't try to fuck with your intonation now. But going up and down, yes. And there is the 1/16th, and you can use a ruler. You can do all this. Listen, Matt Barkley, Maz, stuff it up your ass. He's wrong. Do it. But remember this. When you turn your truss rod, you have to be patient. It's a thing that takes a week. Because once you turn it one way and you're finding out, ooh, that's fucked up. Well, you might have to adjust your look at it. Look at your strings. Look at it, Matt Barkley. I think you're some kind of fucking construction worker. You got half a brain. Look
Temperature matters as well.
well, temperature, moisture, and air, everything. But look at it. Once you get it set, though, it's within close, especially. But again, when you get it all tightened in, so you realize if it's your nut, if it's whatever it is, it's all flat now. It's all where you like to play, because that's the basis, Maz. All my stuff is set up by me. If I took any one of my guitars to a professional and said, set this up, they would change it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
When I got it back, I would change it back to me. But it's because I got different guitars. You saw me the other day. I was trying to pick out some blues on my Washburn that's made for playing cowboy chords. I was on this very channel. You can look at me covering, like doing overplaying. I might have taken it down now because they bitch slapped me so hard with the copyright, but I'm not sure I did. But
no, I agree with what you're saying, because I'm not as good at playing guitar as you are, and I am dumb and heavy-handed fingered wise, so a higher action works better for me. And obviously, if you want to play slide guitar, a higher action usually works better.
See, this some bitch is flat as a fucking pancake. I mean, I will tune it right now just because, and you won't hardly hear this. It's a electric acoustic.
Yeah, don't be ashamed of tuners, guys. You can get them on your iPhone. I literally use my iPhone to tune most things.
I've seen some show-offs that use intonations and can tune a fucking guitar. Just remember, EADGBE. That's all you got to remember. EADGBE. And get you a tuner. But this one is so low, man. This is my baby. I mean, on this live stream, look at her photo, showed me in a different shirt going with this guitar on a little stage right up the road here in a place that used to be called the Tizit. Now it's called Beer and Brats. They even took down the craps thing, but I mean, it was a blues bar. When I was there, it was a blues bar that had blues 7 nights a week.
That's not enough.
It wasn't enough. It was great, but when I say blues, they said blues too, but it was everything, man. They had Motown rock. They had so much shit up there, punk rock. It was everything up there. They had some boys up there rap that did shows. They didn't want to call it like put on a gig. They were like, we're doing a show tonight. You know, colored folk, the darkies. They rock though, fucking rock. A couple cases blew my mind. I was like, wow, I went away like, dude, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm a fan of you.
And can I also throw in a product sponsorship here? Obviously, we're not sponsored on this channel whatsoever, but my other half, who is wonderful and appreciates the craziness of me, brought me this little gift, and I recommend it to people. It's called a Vox AC30. Now, you can get different types, but what it essentially is, Mr. Ogre, is, you know where you plug the sound lead into the back of your guitar?
Yeah.
It's that same size jack, but it's an amplifier in a little mini box. So you can plug it into your guitar. You can then plug in your new headphones that you're buying into this little box thing, and you can listen through your headphones while you're playing. And it's like having an amplifier plugged straight into your guitar with your headphones in. Because the biggest concern I've always had with trying to learn music is people saying, oh, you're too loud, you're making too much noise. If you've got an electric guitar, look up Vox, look up AC30, and they make many different types. You can sit in your bedroom, you can play quietly to yourself, but have the loud screaming amplifier effect sound in your ears. obviously watch out for decibels because it's going to hurt.
All the stuff I have, you can put headphones into. There it is. It is tuned now. I like the blackout strings myself. You can't even see their strings on from that angle. Down here, they're a little wore out.
I don't even know how you say it, but I'm a Dario fan.
Yeah, these are Diodarios. They're
Yeah,
Diodarios. They're Teflon coated. They're black.
I've never had one break on me.
Cannot find these. Oh, I've break them, but this is a 9. This one down here. That's a 9. Like
and also for anyone that's thinking of it, and I've had this, is guitar snobs. I'm a person that just wants to play what I play. I went into a shop and the guy said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I would like some acoustic copper bronze D'Addario strings." And he was like, "No, you need the silver nickel." And I was like, "No, dude, I want the copper ones. I like the mellowness in the copper." And he basically, I'm not kidding you, he actually went, "That's not a shop worker. Don't tell me what you know. Sell me what I want." Dick.
They don't like these strings I got on here. They're probably 6 years old. Maybe older.
D'Addario all the way. And that's another thing you got to take into account. Are you a sweater? I'm definitely a sweater.
You can tell that the strings themselves are black. And you can tell that down here, again, that they get silver. Some of my favorite spots are silver. But the strings themselves are Teflon. You cannot get them anymore. D'Addario. Called them blackouts. Man, they were fucking great. I got a bunch of them. I think this is the last set. I don't have another set laying around. I don't even play this guitar much for that reason. I don't want to get another. The tone, too. You can play like Who style.
What Mr. Ogre is saying to everyone in chat is what works for you. Spend some time looking through everything and what works for you.
Yes. You can't even hear that, can you? I was doing it on my acoustic the other day, but the thing with it killed me too. It's like, by the end of it, I felt like somebody had run hot lead up my carpal tunnels.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That's actually a good point. That's something else that I would recommend to people is that if you're going to do these small hand movements in a confined space, you should learn some exercises as well to counteract that, because carpal tunnel is an issue for guitarists. And if you do some simple exercises to stretch your hand out and to stretch your forearm out, you'll help yourself in the long term. It's going to feel awkward at the beginning. It's going to be painful. I've literally, the first time I tried to make a G7 chord, I had to, with my right hand, pick my fingers up and move my fingers over. But just do it for a year. Stick with it for a year, and you won't be able to believe how easy it is. I'm not a professional. Real piggy. Dun 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 dun.
Hi. Yeah, well, everything goes off of that root too. You can't hear it on this. I dare not pick up the acoustic and try it. It's so hard, but it all goes off of a scale that would go. You know, do re mi fa sol la ti do. Know what I mean, do re mi fa sol la ti do re mi fa sol la ti do.
Well, again, Matt Barkley makes a point about bar chords. Now, Mr. Ogre, could you show on the first fret an F bar chord? Just a bar chord.
Yeah, but not on that. You can't hear it. So, because this is what I was.
Well, I'm not talking about sound. I'm talking about hand positioning.
I'm just showing it. So yes, an F bar chord.
Yeah, do it on the first fret. Now, Mr. Ogre's using a different fingering that I'm using, but the point of it is that he can slide his hand up and it will sound the same all the way and change. Anyone that is scared of bar chords, learn them first. Learn them first. Yeah. It is. What will happen over time is you will build up the finger strength in your hand from doing it, that where it seems nothing. But music on a guitar is less about backwards and forwards on the first and second fret and more about coming down the frets to the seventh, the eighth, and it's crazy stuff. You'll learn it in time. Don't be afraid of bar chords. Learn that first finger on your left hand for me. Get the strength in there.
Yeah, we call them cheater chords though. Bar chords, they're like cowboy chords.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
In other words, let me show you the cowboy chords. So it's A, B, and B is the cheater here. Fuck up that. So A, I'm gonna play B the easy way, which is a bar chord. C, D, E, F, G. Those are cowboy chords. Oh, all right. Mrs. Over's going to get pizza when she gets back. I'm fucking off. So it's like, so that's, I mean, and that is it too. That's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But for cowboy chords, we go like this. If you can count to 4, and you can count, and you know your alphabets A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then you can play anything in rock and blues. I'll show you how, Moss. Let's say we want to play in the key of A. That's right here, A. We'll call that the 1, okay? That's where we're going to start, okay? So it's 1. So A is the 1. So if we're going to play in A, we go A is 1, 2, 3. So A, B, C, and D are the 3 and the 4, all right? So 1 is A, 3 C, and 4 is D. A, C, D. Here we go. Check it out. A and 2, the C.
And in musical terms, what you'll see a lot is they use Roman numerals. So it's the first, the fourth, the fifth, the first, the second, the third. It's. Did you not see that in tablature at all?
Yeah. Well, A, B, C, D, 4, and 5. So I'm going to. So that was rock and roll. So watch this. So A, B, C, D, E.
Hold the fingers down that you're not using.
Okay, so watch this. I'm going to go 1 is the A, right? We're going to go in A. Let's play blues. 1 is the
key of A.
A. So we're going to go to the 4 and the 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. A, B, C, D, and the 5 is E. So A, D, E. Watch this. And then that would go to D. This is the 1, 4. Still haven't got to the 5 yet, right? 12 bar. Now we'll go to the 5. Back to the 4. if you dig that, the 1, 4, 5. So we can do it. Let's do it in a different key. Let's go with D. A, B, C, D. 1, 2, E, F, G, and A. D, G, and A, right? This is G. That's A. See how that fits in, though? I mean, I hope you're digging this. So this is the 1. D. Here's the 5. Here's the 4. Back to the 1. Hear how those went, and then it went to a tune that there's nothing you've ever really heard as far as, oh, I know that song, but you feel that movement. 1, 4, 5. So one more time, I'll go. Let's do a little tougher one. Let's go. E, G, A, B. So yeah, we'll go with the E. We'll go with the E because it's A, B, C, D. E is the 1. E, F, G. Now when you get to G, you got to go back to A. So it's the E, F, G. To get to the 4, you go to A, and then B. B, there is no easy cowboy chord like I'm showing you right now. There's no easy one.
B sucks.
There is no easy one. So if I was going to go to, so we said A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. So E to the A. Hear that flows to the B. See, that's the bar chord. Look, everybody left Maz because this is so dumb.
Is it? Yeah, I can't actually
also,
see.
I have to say too, this is an
video.
intermediate blues lesson too. This is not a beginner blues lesson because I'm already telling you the 1, 4, and the 5. And if again, I'll say it: if you can count to 5, and you can go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and know that when you get to G, you got to go back to A. If you
well, what you didn't mention is like obviously the 1, 4, 5. I see it as the 1st, 4th, and 5th.
Yes,
that's the cause. The most important lesson I always want to give across to people is how the guitar neck works, which is if you in your open position, if you go A and D and A and D and A and D and A and D in the open position, I want people to understand that if you put a capo on, it just moves it up the neck, and you can still do the same chord shapes and go A and D and A and D, but now you've just changed it to a different key. And I know we call it cheating, but it works.
Well, this is cheating though, right here, doing this.
It's not cheating, it's practiced technique.
It's all just cheating, man. It's just bullshit.
It's just understanding a different language.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the blues language there. That's the easiest probably that I know on the guitar.
Yeah. If anyone wants to learn strumming and different strumming patterns, do it around a 12-bar basic blues.
Yeah, I like the 4/4 time. I just like straight up like. One, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2.
And that's
3,
actually
4,
that's a good point you make. Sometimes fuck the music and just ram your hands down on the strings and see what happens.
And that's just like that's a 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to A and D and C and G. All that comes from all that stuff, though. Look, if you get an acoustic guitar and you learn the basics of music philosophy, which is what I'm telling you, the 1, 4, 5, the first, the fourth, and the fifth, however you want to look at it, if you learn what these things are, there's a reason we love music the way we love it. Monkeys didn't just suddenly start playing fucking Beethoven over here, Maz. You know, it broke down into some monkey was humming while they were getting ants off an anthill with a stick. It was like a smart monkey. It had a stick and like got some slime on it to get the ants. It had some shit down, and he was going dum de dum dum de dum 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 de dum dum de dum dum dum, just like that. Dum de dum dum de dum.
Yeah. I think there's a rhythm in life.
Dig it? And then that was it.
And we all know it. There's a rhythm in life. There's the moments you're walking through that are comfortable, appreciative, when you're self-reflecting, and then there's the moments when stuff is pretty tough, and you have to deal with them both.
Maz, you sound tired, and I've just taken us through a bunch of viewers. We had like 8 people here, and I ran them all off with that random fucking guitar lesson from hell. It meant nothing. So look, I'm gonna get out of here before the pizza gets here, because when it gets here, I'm gonna
cheers,
mow
dude.
like a caveman.
Cheers.
But I want to do this first. You ain't out of here that easy. Give you lots of time.
I'm gone.
I want to have your last word. I don't want to prod you on it. You know what the last word is. It's what we may have talked about, with something you've thought about the last year, your whole life, something that you just woke up this morning and it hits you like an epiphany from the wild blue yonder. Maybe something you like about me, don't like, something you like about yourself, don't like, something you like about society, something you hate about your government. It matters not, as long as it comes from your inner soul and who you are, Maz. What is your final word on this most auspicious day?
I spend every day of my life trying to consider every possibility. Maybe I am Jesus and I've been so blessed that nothing can touch me. I don't think that's actually true, considering the world I have to look at tomorrow. But I've taken the time to try and expand my mind and to look out at things and say, you know what, I love guitar. I'm going to spend thousands of pounds of money on guitars, and it didn't work for me, and I'm not that good at that, but it didn't break me. It didn't hurt me. It didn't take me down. I still have my guitars hanging on the wall, which is, for guitarists, always have them hanging on the wall. You'll play them more often. But in the back of my mind, I see the pain in the world. Maybe it's just from my bubble. Maybe it's just from my perspective. But I see people hurting. I see people suffering. And it doesn't need to be that way. So to start fixing it, I think the best thing I can do as a person, because I'm not in the world's eye, I'm not in a popular situation, I'm just nobody. But we're all nobodies. So just look at yourself. If you want to play guitar, pick one up tomorrow and start doing it. If you want to be what I want to be, which is a bushcraft survival expert, pick up the tools and start doing it tomorrow. It's not about the world that is around you and the way it controls you and what it's telling you to do. It's who you are as a person, and whether tomorrow you're going to make that decision, take your hobby up and start doing it. And if it doesn't work out, don't break yourself down about it. Don't beat yourself up, because you fucking tried and you're a stronger person than I am. Do it. If crochet's your thing, do it. Peace all.
Hey, would that look good on your wall, Maz? I'm just curious.
No.
right.
I've got 2 black Epiphones because I love the blacks.
You don't think that this, not on that same wall, but you don't think that this would look good in that room just hanging on the wall? This
I will play it. I will play it.
1979.
Then I will realize how crap I am at playing, and it will embarrass me.
This one.
That's not my life now. My life is bushcraft.
I won't even lie. That guitar is so hard to play that it'll make a man out of it. I think that's why Dimebag loved them. There's people like Jack White,
Dimebag
the
Darrell.
White Stripes, that was like, he believes this. Your job should be hard. And man, when you see that white and red guitar he's playing, Maz, do you know who the White Stripes are?
Yeah.
Okay. When you see Jack White with that white and red guitar, looks like a candy cane. That's like a 1969 plastic piece of shit that you could get at Sears if your dad bought a lawn tractor.
But you make a fantastic point. You put that cheap shit of £60 crap in Jimi Hendrix's hands. How's it going to sound?
All along the watchtower.
Angel. Acoustic angel.
Life pouring his very life force pouring forth from that.
We can't all be gods, but we can be
can't all be
gods in
gods.
our own right if we just find peace in ourselves.
I mangled this last word, and there's a couple people.
There's no problem. No
I
problem.
thought I'd be good at it. I thought I'd do something different, but I'm just drunk. Just waiting for pizza. I'm just a drunk guy waiting for pizza. And it's interesting to me to have you on, Maz. You are, I'm going to say it now, I'm drunk. In Vino Veritas. You are the new and improved Magic Bollocks. You actually have half a brain, and I appreciate that.
Damn.
And
I was hoping to be the mini Britisher.
oh well, I think everybody's hoping. No one's ever even been compared with that. No. I think Common Sense Guy would agree. No, none of you. No. Britisher it was and is
What a legend.
the most son of a bitchin' regimented Englishman, stick-to-itive, fucking by the books, schedule first Englishman that ever lived. He's a great man, a role model in all reality for anyone that wants to do good in their life, that wants to take whatever they're doing and do the best of it, that make the best of it that you possibly can. If you don't believe me, watch his movie reviews on movies that are freaking 50 years old. Not my cup of tea, but gotta give it to the man. He puts his all in everything he does, and I think he's better than that dude. Who's the English guy? Yeah, anyway. So this is my final word. Yeah, Maz, now that I did that, is there anything else you want to close out on? Because I rambled there, and so I am going to give my final word after this. Let me do a bong swat. If you have nothing to say, it'll be dead air.
Yeah, while you do the bong swat, I just want to keep saying it, and whether it ruins the production value or not, just people that are out there in chat, don't be afraid to come in and have an opinion. I was the same, and Mr. Ogre, Mr. CSG welcomed me in, showed me what I'm supposed to do and what I'm not supposed to do. So just because I love being in chat and I love hearing people's opinions.
You sound like a Liverpudlian and a Cockney had a baby and forced it to speak like both of them to me. That's the best I can say.
I'm what you need.
Yeah. maybe it's fulfilling every one of my English desires as possible. So, in my final word, the last thing that I have to say, I often wonder, do we take everything for granted? Is it only me? I mean, am I the only one that fails to remember that when I look around now and I have phones with endless audiobooks on them, 16 gigabytes of audiobooks, it'd take me fucking year to listen to them all front to back. Got everything from, you talked about, you actually mentioned Art of War. I have it on here. Art of War. I have Sun Tzu's Art of War on here in audiobook. And that, from that to to Stephen King's Under the Dome. I have, off the top of my head, Burroughs' Junkie. I have, oh man, I've got so many books on here, so I'm not going to go through them all. I have a wide, eclectic range of books too, from Sun Tzu's Art of War to Burroughs' Junkie, and everything in between. I've got a little bit of carry on with this. Do I take it for granted? Am I taking it for granted? I've got this plugged into my computer, and I'm starting to play Deus Ex. What a fucking ball buster that game is, too, I gotta say. I'm getting it, man. I'm sticking to it. By the time I get done with that, I should be a hammer fucking stone cold killer at something like Far Cry, where there's the auto point where you just get close and you squeeze your aim and it zeroes in on them and kind of tracks them. You don't even have to track them. None of that easy shit in Deus Ex, by the way. You got to kill them. Very realistic. Take it for granted. Some people say, oh, these video games are, oh, we're just talking about playing Deus Ex and Far Cry. And in Far Cry, you kill animals and run people down with your car if you want to, and you just slaughter. Yeah, gets it out, don't it? Kind of a release. There is no even correlation with video games and helping people in need, violent movies and helping people in need. Friend of mine, Dr. Rollins, partook in a study about helping people after watching violent movies as opposed to Princess whoever from Disney. And what it showed was, if any correlation, people that just watched Alien 2 were more likely to help the man that dropped his crutch that appeared to have a broken leg that was really just another psychologist. Use men a lot too, because people are empathetic with women. You want to find out if somebody's empathetic, put a football player looking really physical dude that just dropped his crutch that does have a broken leg. Yeah, a lot of people walk by him because that kid spit on him in line in the cafeteria. I'm getting off. You know why I'm getting off? Maz, I'm going to break my rules again and just say this, man. You can interject anytime you want in this final word. You really can. You did it before, and it's fine. It's interesting to have you on here. It's something to, when I think about Common Sense Guy and I'm not saying, even you probably are far above us in IQ. I don't mean anything to say about like smarts or nothing, but I think about, like, there's dudes like Common Sense Guy and I, who our lives revolve around what we're going to say. It really does. I don't know how else to even put it. A gentleman like you go through some like inner blocks to go on and talk to people in the greater world, and giving an oratory is not what you, I mean, to like, again, to Common Sense guys, we build our lives, we build what we are is around this. It's all about erudition, and then everything else is just research and making sure you don't look like a dipshit when you're spouting off, so to speak. Then you have a gentleman like yourself, like, that no desire to even do this, but that just stuns and dumbfounds folks like Common Sense Guy, the Britisher. With all due respect, I know him enough to say this, the Britisher, the academic agent, where we step back and we go, man, we talk all the time. And here's this dude, comes out of the wild blue, Joe Blow, Joe Six-Pack, Mr. Nobody. I'm so-and-so from Sussex. I'm what you call it from Birmingham. I'm a nothing from Nottingham. Whatever. Listen.
I'm just going to agree with the Six-Pack, though that is a lie.
And look, listen. A fool would judge himself by himself and among himself. Don't look inside of your own circles, because then folks like us that love to talk so much, well, we, as I just did and demonstrated, will judge what's going on by what we are. And we're all the same.
The first step has to be to put yourself below everyone, to be better than nobody, and look at everyone and ask yourself why they are doing what they're doing. Why is this happening the way it's happening?
And I tell you what, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter where you find yourself right now, remember this. You are not only a unique and precious individual. If no one else agrees, you should agree with that statement. You are a supreme being with an infinite ability to absorb knowledge. You're a sponge able to understand your environment in a way that no other animal we know of on earth is able to do. Therefore, folks, it's incumbent upon you to know what's going on. Make sure you stay abreast of not just the news. And if you listen to Fox and you think that Tucker Carlson's the God King, or you're only a CNN guy and it's that Cuomo guy, whatever his name is. Yes, it all sucks. It's all the same. Forget all of it, man. Remember this. Be good to your friends. Be good to your family members. Be good to your loved ones. Be quick to say you're sorry. Be even quicker to accept an apology, especially when that thing your friend, your family member, your loved one, any fucking body else has done seems to be so huge you'll never be able to forget about it. Because Maz, in this rambling, jamming session that we've had, my friends that have joined us, remember, as Maz said, join us in the chat, side chat, all matters, and this rambling, jamming shit we've done. At a time you think not. Your friends, your family members, your loved ones, your life, the chat, Maz, the ogre, everything you know will depart